Hey guys, this is Felissa Rose, Angela from Sleepaway Camp, and you're listening to the Horror Squad podcast.
Hello, welcome back to the Horror Squad podcast, episode number 184. Tonight we're covering a trilogy, Fear Street 1, 2, and 3, currently streaming on Netflix. Quite the hot topic as well around the horror world and non-horror world, so that's always good. I'm one of your co-hosts, Todd. We have Steve, who just passed a kidney stone. My God, that's terrible. I'm glad you're okay. Sam, who was worried about kidney stones, so that's perfect timing from Steve. And Joe. What's up, guys?
Who doesn't want a kidney stone? Hello.
Oh,
How you doing, Todd? Tell me all about your convention. I want to hear all about it. I'm very excited. I've been itching to go to a horror con for 2 years now, so I want to hear how your first con experience back was.
It was one part terrible, another part amazing. And I got a bone to pick with horror fans. It's been over a year, guys. I mean, there have been some cons, right? Here and there, but let's just pretend over a year, right? You got to wear the deodorant, people. You got to take a shower.
So that hasn't changed.
No. You got to take a shower, deodorant, clothes that aren't dirty. For the love of God. It's summer right now. We're all getting off COVID. And trust me, if you didn't have COVID before, you definitely got at this event because I'm surprised they let it happen. It was Indianapolis in Indiana. And it was like you had to snake your way through people, shouldering, elbows in the gut, stuff like that. It was extremely packed. And it was 2 rooms, pretty smaller than usual. I've been to this venue before, and my God, one of the rooms, like no lie, you walk into it and you can feel like the musk setting over you. It's like,
I can taste it.
Yeah, exactly. It gets on your skin. You taste it. You're just like, what am I doing?
Joe lives for that, by the way.
No,
No, I don't. I don't live for the smell as much as I love cons. That I do not. I really can smell it right now. I know exactly that smell Todd is talking about.
it's just a mix of.
I can feel it in my throat. Like the Sunday morning when you go home, you're gonna get sick from everyone. That's what is in my throat right now.
Yeah.
I took a nice shower when I got home. Like it was, we were all like me and my crew, my group, whatever. Like cologne, shaved, stuff like, you're out in public, you got to do your thing. I understand, some people might be a little bit less better off or whatever, can't afford cologne, that's cool. But, deodorant, shower, it goes a long way. Especially if you want maybe higher caliber celebrity guests, they're going to be turned off if they go to a con and it's pretty stinky. So let's keep that in mind. But other than that, the bad stuff aside, it was cool hanging out with my friends and then going to the con and seeing actors. Yeah, even if I didn't, this is actually my cheapest con. I only spent $100 total, besides not including Steve's 100. But I only met Sky and Michael St. Michael's from Greasy Strangler, who were extremely cool. Sky is extremely laid back, and you can tell they're really happy to be noticed. You know what I mean? Like some of the actors will glance up at you and then be done. But no, they were asking questions, talking about food. They were great. It was a really good time. So I was happy to meet them. Didn't do Dreyfus because his line was insane the entire day. Wow. And it was way too sweaty.
Mm-hmm. And God.
I know, but
you're going to be so sad about this.
You're probably right, but I was so turned off at that point because he was in the room with the stink.
I know, Todd, but I was even telling Joe, I was like, I need to message Todd and say what is going on? Why would you make this mistake?
Yeah, I saw him though. He looks good. He doesn't look as bad or rough as he was with you guys. So maybe.
Oh, really? Maybe he stopped drinking. Not that he was drinking, but I'm just assuming. That always makes everyone look better.
Maybe a year off from everybody too.
Right.
Yeah, maybe he enjoyed the time away. Yeah.
But not to pick on horror fans completely though, because there were 2 singers there. They had Alice Cooper and Corey Taylor from Slipknot. So they drew a huge crowd, and that might have something to do with the grittiness. But I bought the autograph and I bought a Leatherface figure. Spent $100 total the whole day, and it was good. It was fun.
What Leatherface figure?
The little, what are they called? Amigos or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, one of those little fake $20 ones. So it was pretty fun.
Yeah, cool. Nice.
Yeah. It's good to get out though. It was fun.
Yeah, definitely. I can't wait. Sam and I are going to one next month, so I can't wait, and we'll report back for sure.
Todd,
Deodorant
was
report.
there anyone wearing a mask? Like, was there,
No,
or was it just like COVID had never happened?
It's like COVID never happened. There was maybe, honestly, not lying, maybe 2 people.
Mm-hmm.
None of the actors. Dreyfuss wasn't masked, so I mean, he's probably the oldest gentleman there.
Yeah.
No,
I saw
it
a few
was-
pictures. I saw a few pictures with Alice Cooper, and I saw he had like 2 tables. So like he was, I felt like that was like more, that was sort of a COVID thing, but it also could have been a stink thing. Who knows?
But yeah, it was cool to be there though. It definitely rekindled my love to collect stuff again.
Mm.
Like I hadn't bought a figure in probably a year, probably through entire COVID, just because I didn't feel like it. But then when I went there, I saw all the stuff, and you had the vendors and stuff. I'm like,
Yeah.
ooh, I'm kind of feeling this now. So it was cool.
Nice.
Awesome.
And Steve,
Yeah.
let's hear that first theater back experience.
Yes,
I've been excited to hear
please.
this as well.
Yeah, so theaters finally
And don't forget
reopened.
to tell us about the snack that you had.
Yeah, absolutely. So theaters finally opened in Canada. Well, at least in my province. I think we were the last ones to open. So I decided, especially now we're at 50% capacity, which means you're guaranteed not to have random people at least 2 seats from you. Because the theater that I go to, it's like these leather recliner seats. So, and they're like packs of 2. So it was me, my wife, and then the 2 on each side of us were guaranteed to be empty, which is just the way I love it. I went to see Escape Room 2. Which I won't talk about because we might do an episode on it. So I want to keep my thoughts for that. So I went, there was like nobody there, at least when I got there. I got popcorn and a drink. I got water. My wife got Diet Coke, but it was a combo pack that I bought in like 2019. That I've been kind of holding on to in my wallet for the last year and a half. So I finally got to use it. And the first thing I like noticed is the seats didn't feel as comfortable as they used to be, even though they're like leather recliners. But a lot has changed for me since COVID hit. I moved, and when I moved, I made good money on like the sale of my old house. So I kind of splurged a little bit for new furniture because I needed to furnish my new house. And one of the things I splurged on was a big screen TV, a surround sound, and kind of like leather recliners for my basement. And now that I have that at home, I feel like the theater wasn't as like fun anymore. Even though there was basically no one in the room, there were maybe 6 other people that were watching the movie with us. So that wasn't the issue. They were quiet, so that's not the problem. But popcorn felt stale. The seats were kind of uncomfortable. After a year and a half of not going to the theater, like halfway through the movie, it's like I want to get up and stretch or whatever, and I can't because I'm at a theater, and it's just, I don't know. The experience just didn't seem as fun as it used to be. So I think if I have the option going forward, I'm going to rent it at home. I know some movies are still doing kind of both. So unless it's something I really, really want to see, or it's something for the podcast, then I think I'm going to either wait for it to come out on digital or won't see it at all. So yeah.
Spoiled yourself, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I know I'm privileged and lucky that I can do that, but it's just, I don't know. It kind of lost its appeal to me, at least from this.
I'm right there with you, to be honest with you. Mine is more people, because I get so frustrated where it'll affect like 30 minutes of my movie. Like even if it's like something at the beginning where I'm like, oh, this guy's a fuck, like the whole time. And it's like down the line, I'm like, this motherfucker better not. And I'm thinking about it,
Yeah.
So it's just easier not to go.
Mm-hmm. Without giving anything away, Steve, I know that you had said when we watched the trailer for Escape Room that you felt like they showed the entire movie. Would you say that was accurate, or?
Funny, our buddy Mondo asked me that very question today, and I actually watched the trailer again, and my response to him was, that wasn't a trailer, that was a 2-minute recap of the film.
Okay.
Like it's ridiculous. It's practically everything that film has to offer in that 2-minute trailer.
Which I think we already knew. I mean, but that's disappointing.
Yeah, I was hoping maybe we get some surprises, but it doesn't sound like it.
There are, but the majority of the beats in the film are shown, in flashes. I mean, it's still 2 minutes versus an hour and a half, but yeah, that sucks. I hate when people do that. Yeah.
Are the like setups cool, like that they have to escape from?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess so. The escape rooms themselves are pretty cool, but I thought that with the first one as well. It's just there's a lot of suspension of disbelief, which I have a hard time with.
Whoa, there's
Kind
a
of like in the,
volcano.
I was like, well,
Right.
yeah, I was like in the first one, they literally were in like the Arctic and inside of a building. So
Right.
you can't get more
Bottomless pit.
crazy than that. I
The
feel like,
bottomless pit. But I
Yeah,
will
yeah.
say this without spoiling anything, but they do something in the movie that that kind of explains stuff in the first one that makes it a little more believable, like a little bit more.
Okay.
So they tried, I guess, to retcon some of the things from the first one. But still, yeah, it'll be I have a lot of notes on this movie, so I hope we get to do it at some point because
Cool.
there's a lot to talk about.
All right. Awesome.
I picture Steve with a little notepad in the theater. That's not right. I'm jotting it down.
I know.
Well,
I
Sam,
did
you want to
after.
tell them what we did this weekend? Besides, like my car breaking down and
shit.
all of the nightmare we dealt with that, but we
Oh,
did
that
do something.
sucks.
We did do something fun.
Oh yeah, we went to Fright Kingdom, which is a haunted house in the next state over, and they were doing a Christmas in July Krampus haunted house thing. They were gonna do it in December, but it got canceled because of COVID, so they left all of the stuff up and wanted to give it like one more go before they got ready for Halloween. And it was pretty cool. Like it was just their normal haunted house, but they had like Christmas decor and like creepy Christmas music playing. They had what else did they have? They had like creepy snowmen around.
Yeah, all the costumes were awesome. They were
Yeah,
all
they
like
had like
Christmas
creepy
themed.
elves
Yeah.
walking around.
Mhm.
At the end, it was like a short moment where you walked into this area and it smelled like peppermint or gingerbread.
Gingerbread, yeah.
And then there were like 2 gingerbread men that looked really creepy. And that was it. And that was like my favorite part. I was like, they should have definitely like, because it's like, yeah, you see killer snowmen, you see the elves, but it's like you rarely see creepy gingerbread
Gingerdead men.
men. I was like, they should have done that, but it was still fun.
Yeah, it was really cool. And like the coolest, they had like one of the houses. So it's like there were 4 houses in total. It's all indoors. It's like an indoor haunt place. But one of the coolest things that they did was they had like a 3D haunt. And when you put the glasses on, the lights looked like Christmas presents, and it like blew my mind. I don't know how they did it, but like the entire haunt just had like these crazy Christmas presents like all over the thing, and it really added to the whole like atmosphere. But I mean, they did it like a killer job, like with the Christmas theme. Like I thought it was like going to be really lame. I was like, oh, it's just going to be like, you know, your basic Halloween type haunt with just like shitty Christmas decorations everywhere. But they really did go all out. Like every like costume like had something to do with like a creepy snowman or Krampus or yeah. So they really went above and beyond, and yeah, it was a blast. We had a lot of fun.
What was that called again?
The place is called Fright Kingdom, but the event was called Christmas in July or Krampus in July or something like that. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
But I have to ask because like anytime Joe wants to go to a haunted house, I want to go too, but I always want to invite other people with us because when it's just it always ends up just being us two, no matter if we invite people. Something always fucks it up to where it's just us two. And I always get so bummed, and I don't think Joe understands, but I'm like, it's not scary. And it's like, I like having the other people, like our friends jumping, and then you can kind of laugh at them and just scare each other. And it's like, if we just go by ourselves, we always get pushed into like a couple group that doesn't want us, or a bunch of like teenage assholes like run into us because they're so scared. So it's just not enjoyable at all. Like I tried to have a good time. I did, but I was like, I don't know. Do you guys feel like that? Or are you just like, whatever, it's fine?
I'd rather do anything alone, personally.
But I mean, with your friends though?
Well, no, yeah. I mean, with friends it'd be cool, but
Yeah.
that, you know, my current situation doesn't really allow that with my kids and stuff. So I'd prefer just my core group personally.
Yeah.
But like when I used to go to like Halloween mazes and stuff, it does suck to have probably kids is the worst one because like you said, they run into you. But the ones that make me the most mad are the ones that are like trying too hard to not be scared. Those are the ones that frustrate me. Like, shut up. You know, just shut up.
Yeah, we did have like a group of like teenagers behind us that were like freaking out. And then the guys in front of us, they were like, it was a two couples, and the two guys were drunk. Like they had like water bottles with like alcohol, and they kept drinking out of it. I don't know if Sam noticed that or not, but they were being like super annoying.
No, because I was so pissed that the people ran into me. And like, this is my bubble. Don't disrespect it. You don't need to touch my body anywhere. There's no need. Get the fuck,
Could you have
like,
let them
back
go ahead
up.
of you?
I almost wanted to, but then I'm like, if it's not them, it's just going to be the next people, because there were a lot of young people there. And it was like everyone was just, the crowd was kind of like on a level 10. I don't know, which is fine, but
Well, we also went late, so I feel like everyone was probably drinking pre-game.
yeah,
and
that's
stuff,
true. But
so,
like they
yeah.
kind of stopped though, because they ran into me, and I fucking gave them the dirtiest look.
She did,
and I
yeah.
like turned my head and I was like biting my teeth. I was like, I'm gonna punch you if you don't back up.
You know what
So
it
then
is,
they
though,
kept
Sam?
saying, what?
You're just getting old.
That's how I've always
That's just
been
how it
old.
is.
Damn kids.
Damn
Yeah.
kids. It's true.
There are no rules in there. I've been grabbed like full on by random strangers, just like grabbing my shirt.
Yeah,
do
they
the
think like it's
houses.
okay.
Yeah,
Like, it's
right.
not okay. Like, what if I had something wrong with my leg? What if I had a wooden leg that you were not
Oh,
aware of,
shit.
and you pull on me
You're a
and I
pirate.
fucking fall? No, but I'm saying, and I fall and like I hit my head and I'm dead. Like, there's no need to, like, you fucking learn. I'm getting pissed now, but it's like,
Fired up. I like it.
you learn to not touch people in fucking elementary school. Like, nothing's changed, bro. Back up.
Yeah.
Everyone's
don't
on
go
their
to,
rants tonight. I love it.
Yeah, I don't know. That's comes back to the thing again with the movie theaters. People ruin it for you, you know? Just like that. It's always other people. Probably because we're respectful and we stay quiet and reserved and wear deodorant. So
Yeah, it didn't smell bad there, so I wasn't. I mean, that was a positive.
that's good. Was COVID not a thing there too? No mask or anything?
No masks, nothing. They last time we went there last October, and like there was a mask policy, but like everyone was still up each other's asses. So like, but this time it was like COVID never even happened. So I'm interested to see what I'm thinking when we go to Monster Mania next month, it will be the same thing, like COVID never happened.
Yeah, it's gonna be crowded.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. It's never not crowded there. So
yeah, but I'll be going to Horror Hound and Cincy in 2 months.
Awesome.
So.
Have they announced what have they got for guests there?
It's a lot of Nightmare on Elm Street people. Freddy Krueger's gonna be there and
nice.
That stuff. So all the usuals for that. And the one Goodfellas guy I sent you, he'll be there.
Oh, okay. Yep.
I forget what else, but it's a ton of Nightmare on Elm Street people.
Nice. I think we're gonna meet Brad Dourif next month, because I was telling Sam I forgot that I got the Jennifer Tilly autograph. So like she's like possessing Chucky in the picture, so I'm gonna have him sign it. So I got both of them on 1/8x10. So it'll be nice.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks because you're a zombie, you don't know good coffee. Well, they're wrong. There's only one brew that gets my seal of approval. Deadly Grounds coffee is my guilty pleasure. The aroma is so intoxicating. It brings all of my neighbors out of the woodwork. Deadly Grounds coffee. Coffee to die for and zombie approved. It's good to get a little deadly. Use the front door! Oh, they're so disgusting.
Are we skipping What Watch today since we have 3 movies? Or what are we doing?
I mean,
we can still do What Watch, I think. It's
yeah, because I want to talk Offseason, Todd.
Ooh.
Oh, really? Okay.
Take it away, buddy.
All right. Well, Todd, thanks for being patient, because Todd and I, oh, by the way, we're not doing questions until the end. I don't know if we mentioned that or not, but we're going to get them, folks. But all right. So Todd and I decided to tackle a new book. Todd did it like 2 months ago, and I told Todd I'd get to it, and I finally was able to finish it. But we did Offseason by Jack Ketchum. who's actually a local author to me. He is from the area. He unfortunately passed away a couple years ago, but a very renowned horror writer. Stephen King even called him like the most terrifying writer he like ever read and stuff like that. So
Wow, that's impressive.
yeah, so he's got quite a he's won like a bunch of awards and stuff like that too. So Offseason was one of his most controversial and probably most popular books. But basically what this book is about, it is about it's about basically this woman. She is like, what is she, Todd? Like a famous editor or something?
Yeah, she's like a social. Yeah, she's like a professional woman that wants to get away.
Yeah, she wants to get away basically. So she decides to rent a cabin up in Maine during the off season, hence the name of the book. So they go up, I believe it's September, right? Like early mid-September, late September. She rents the cabin for, and she decides to bring her friends, unless she invites her friends up to this cabin in the woods, basically in the middle of nowhere, Maine. And we follow a few different stories. So we follow her story, and then we follow her friends heading up to the cabin. And then we follow a police officer and his like sidekick who are investigating, because the book opens with this woman being attacked by cannibals. And yeah, it all comes, full circle. But essentially what happens is these group of inbred cannibals who live out in a cave in the woods attack this cabin in the middle of the night. And it gets fucking insane. And I really don't want to give like anything else away. But basically, it's like, think like The Hills Have Eyes times 10. Like it just gets crazier and crazier the more you go. Honestly, like I just like, man, like, so it starts slow. But it's like all build up, and it's good build up. Like, so it's like, the first like 5 or 6 chapters is a lot of build up of meeting these characters. We meet obviously the friends that are coming up, and we meet the police officer and all that. But man, once these cannibals attack the cabin, which is in chapter 6, it like never lets up for the next like 6 chapters. Like it is just like one thing after the other, them attacking them in the house, and then them taking some of them back to the cave, and the shit that happens in the cave is like so brutal. But it's a great read. Like I kind of wish we covered this in our book episode over the
I'm
Girl Who
sorry.
Loved Tom Gordon.
Okay. I didn't know.
I just
I
mean
did
because like
Joe was telling me about it. I was like, I need to read it.
just because like this is like legit horror. Like Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon, obviously we debated, was it really horror and stuff. I mean, this is like full hardcore horror. He gets very descriptive in the stuff here. I mean, you have children cannibals, adult cannibals, you
got rape.
You got rape.
Tell us something scary.
I mean, I don't know. I think the scariest part is like when they first attack the house. I mean, once you get back to the cave, once they take him back to the cave, it just gets gross. Like, I mean, it's disturbing. But for me, like the scariest part is them breaking into the house. Like, cause just like think about that.
Sam
Like
would like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, like I've rented houses in the woods before, and just the thought of someone watching you from, the woods and then breaking in to your house, just like completely unprovoked too. I mean, these are just like completely psychotic.
They don't even offend them
cannibals.
at some point. Nothing.
Yeah, there's no motive here. It's just
Wow.
psychotic people who basically want to feed on humans. But yeah, I mean, Ketchum's a great writer. Like I said, he's very descriptive, and he puts it along at a really good pace. And like I said, it like the first 6 chapters is all build up, and it's great build up. And I mean, yeah, I highly recommend it. I really enjoyed it. Go for it, Todd.
To answer the scariest scene, so each like cannibal had a role, like there was a big guy, there was a kid, there was a dominant female, things like that. And there's just one big guy that's like a fucking monstrosity. And they kind of show from his point of view as he's watching people. Like, how you look outside your window at night, you can't see out. Well, it's like he would be like a foot away, just fucking mad dogging them while they're doing shit and describing his feelings and things like that, which is pretty gruesome. But I think the grossest scene, we're all spoiled it because it's just one scene.
Mm-hmm.
It's where they take one of the victims out just like maybe 100 yards away,
Yeah.
and they string
brutal.
her up and butcher
Yeah.
her in front of her sister, who's back at the house still. Sorry,
Yeah.
spoiler, that's a character, whatever. But
Does
Yeah,
the
and they even-
sister
they-
see while this is happening?
Yeah.
yes,
Oh.
everyone sees it. Yeah,
Yeah,
God.
they
And the
even
dude-
describe like how he pulls the heart out and like takes
Yeah.
a bite out of her heart and shit.
Yeah. And
Wow.
there's like burnings, like complete burnings of victims, and the
Mhm.
cops stumble upon it, and they go on like they posse up. They're like, "Fuck it, we're gonna go out there and kill them." The cave
that's-
stuff is bad.
Yeah. The cave
Like,
stuff's really bad.
Rape, children in danger, sexual violence, apart from rape, which but yeah, I wrote it down here in my review for it. It's The Hills of Eyes meets Texas Chainsaw,
Yeah.
but with more updated gore, because those movies were kind of tame by today's standards, but this one is like goes all out. You got
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I mean, this book, I mean, obviously, like, there's like nothing new here, I guess, right? Because like
Yeah.
we've all seen like so many horror movies and stuff like that. And I think this book was written in the 80s, like early 80s. So you can tell like he borrowed heavily from like Texas Chainsaw and, Hills Have Eyes and stuff like that. That was definitely his inspiration. But yeah, I mean, it's brutal and it's relentless. And once it gets going, he never lets up, and he just continuously he'll continuously like try to give you like hope, and then like he'll just like suck you like right back like into
Yeah.
like hell basically.
What's
So
good
yeah,
too,
I mean, it's well done.
what's good too is that the victims make good decisions too.
Mhm.
Like when they're fighting, they use weapons and they hide properly, and they have a plan and stuff like that. But then, like Joe was
That's
talking
good.
about, the hope that they have, like, oh, we know where a gun's at, or we know how to, stuff like that. It's just squashed. Especially when the cops get there too, it's squashed. They're not safe either. So
Yeah.
Is this
Good.
just a one-part story, or is there like a second?
there's a sequel that I haven't read that was written like 10 years later. So
So who
Yeah,
wrote that? Like just someone who bought.
same guy.
Oh, okay. It's
Yeah.
not like he had. Okay. Does he have any children? I wonder that, and
I'm
if
not
any
sure.
of them write.
That I don't know.
Hmm.
No, I'm
I'll
not
have to
sure.
look
But
it up.
he used to be at every single Rock and Shock. So I had walked by his table like
Oh,
a
you
million
remember
times.
walking? Oh,
Yeah,
that's,
yeah.
That's too
Mhm.
bad that he passed away.
Yeah, because my friend Mike, he's like a avid reader, and he actually like went to his table and bought one of his books. So I was able to like be there when he talked to him. So it was cool to like think of like him while I was reading this book. So yeah, so I'm excited. I'm excited. I'll definitely pick up the sequel. I was reading some of the Goodreads ratings on it, and they say it's not as good, but it's okay. So
Yeah.
I'll check it out eventually. And I think next I might tackle another one of his books. The Being the Girl Next Door, which I've seen the
Ooh.
movie and it's like super disturbing, but I heard the
Yeah.
book, like I've heard people say they couldn't even finish.
I've
reading
avoided
it
that
'cause it was
one
that
because of the source
disturbing.
material.
Yeah, the source material is brutal. So, Sam, you've seen the movie, I think, The Girl Next Door, where
Yeah, where she
Um,
like talks to someone online,
no,
or she's the one that gets kidnapped by the neighbor.
no, yeah, well, she goes to live with her aunt, and the aunt is just like brutal and
Oh, yeah.
like just can torture, and she invites like the kids over and they torture like this
Yeah.
girl in the basement and stuff. Yeah,
Oh my God, there's a book. I can't even imagine.
yeah, the movie's based off the book, so.
Oh.
But yeah, off season. Check it out. I mean, if you're a horror fan, I can't see why you wouldn't like this. It's brutal.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I guess I'll say like a little more because like whatever. A lot of people probably won't even read it. But like when he takes that girl back to the cave and like cuts off all 4 of her limbs, like and then like pulls her tongue out.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, it's so brutal. And she's still alive. And they
What?
just say, like, yeah, like
Oh,
it cuts off
That one
the-
girl bites that one dude's dick off
Yeah.
after making him come, mind you.
Right.
So
Wow.
He's very descriptive in the sex scenes too.
Yeah.
I gotta say, like it's quite gross. But there is like one like really hot sex scene between like 2 people in the cabin right before
He
the
gets his-
cannibals attack, and it's like,
dude,
it's
not
like-
right before, like during,
like
practically.
right, yeah, like it's like right as he's like coming. I think they like break into the the like cabin.
So literally caught with your pants around your
Yeah.
ankles.
Right.
It's good stuff though.
Yeah, but they describe like one of the cannibals, like the way he describes cannibals is great too. Like, because he just like how disgusting they all are. They're like, there's ones like missing like fingers, and like
Yeah.
they got like like the stench of them and stuff like that. So
Joe's
Good stuff.
glowing. He's into this.
it was good, man.
It was
I
good,
really
yeah.
enjoyed it. Yeah.
He cut off all 4 of her limbs and cut out her tongue.
Yeah.
Yes.
Did she survive?
No.
I'm glad she didn't because she got brutalized.
Damn.
There
Did
were
someone
not
kill
many
her to take
survivors.
her out of her suffering, or she just died eventually?
She just died.
She just dies, yeah, from her injuries.
Did they
and
rape
stuff.
her after cutting off her limbs?
I think they did before, didn't they?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
God.
Yeah, they talk about they talk about a lot of cannibal boners quite a lot of times. But yeah, it's disturbing. So just trigger warning, I guess, for people. But yeah, if you like your horror, you'll definitely get it in this one.
Wow. Do you think why don't we know more about him, and why is it like Stephen King? Because I feel like, do you know what I'm trying to get to?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I don't, I think because like King is more safe horror. That's
Okay.
and he's more like brutal like horror. So like a lot of people can't read that stuff, or they just think
Yeah, the
it's
housewives
like,
But it
aren't reading
sounds
this.
it sounds
Yeah.
so detailed, and like that's what I like to read. Is like it doesn't have to be
Yeah.
gruesome, but the more detailed it is, the more that I can see the story and like play it out like a movie in my head.
Yeah, this one's gruesomely detailed though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I
which
don't
is
think-
why it was so controversial. Like, a lot. There was like his.
Well, he's got like a
published
kid in a
company,
cage
like,
the entire fucking book too. Like a
right?
victim.
Yeah.
What do
Yeah,
they do
and
with the kid?
They're
he's
just the inbreds.
Well, no, they have that one kid hostage or captured.
Oh yeah. Oh, in the cave. Yeah.
He's in
yeah.
a cage and they fuck with his feet and shit. It's like
Yeah.
Oh
it's
my
it's
gosh.
it's definitely relentless
Wow.
from when it starts getting violent. It doesn't end till the end till the end of the book.
Mhm. Yeah.
So,
Damn.
Yeah. And there's like a lot of kid deaths too. Like, because there's a lot of cannibal kids. Like, so
Fuck them,
they're
though.
all like, yeah, exactly. Fuck them because they suck anyway. But still, like,
You got the physical book, right, Joe?
yeah.
I think Sam might need to read it.
I told her, jump on it, Sam.
Get on it.
You're next.
What
I
about
want
you,
to.
Steve?
I think. Yeah. Like I told her, I was like, I think you'll really like it, Sam. So.
All right, I had to, but I'm only going to talk about one because we don't have a ton of time. So the only one I'll talk about this week is a 2020 film that I saw over on Tubi called Scary Bride. So this is a Russian film, but it's like Russian people who speak English, but I guess they don't speak English well, so they dubbed over all the English, which is super fucking random. So it's about a guy who he like is really lonely, and he keeps having like sex dreams and stuff like that. But in all of his sex dreams, the girl, like, something happens where either he catches her like fucking an old man or all this like super weird shit. I don't know why he has all these weird sex dreams, but his friend has a Russian like bride, someone he met online, and he's kind of jealous because she's hot. So he decides to take the leap and go to Russia to find like a girlfriend or whatever. So he goes to Russia and he goes to this like club, and over there he meets this like hot woman, and she wants to sleep with him, and they go upstairs and she like puts a blindfold on him, and it turns out that she's a witch, and she starts like doing stuff to him, and then he eventually gets away and he runs away, but everywhere he runs to, like, they're kind of in cahoots with the witch, so all this weird stuff happens. Like, he goes to this place where he's trying to like seek refuge, and he's naked and he puts on some clothes, and he goes to this other place, and this girl's like, oh, you got to get naked again because I got to cleanse you. So he gets naked, and then she's like, oh, you have to put your head in this like wooden thing, and for whatever strange reason he agrees. Then she takes out this like fish and starts like kind of rubbing him with the fish, and then shoves the fish up his ass, and you see it. There's a shot, like a POV from inside of his ass of like the fish coming like out,
What the fuck are you watching?
I don't know. It's a super fucking weird film. The dubbing is terrible, but it almost adds to the charm of the film. Now, I would not recommend this, but if you're looking for something really weird and it's well shot, it's not like one of those low budget that's like really terrible. It's actually kind of entertaining. So it would be like a soft recommend if you're into like really weird, kind of unexpected movies. And it's Scary Bride from Tubi.
What kind of fish was it though?
A very fake looking fish. Like that's, yeah. I don't know what kind it was supposed to be, but
Steve needs help with all these movies.
Yeah, I didn't expect that at all, though. That came out fucking total left field. I don't even know what made me want to watch this movie, to be honest with you. I don't know. Like the poster is not even that cool. I don't know what the hell was going on that morning, but
You need to take a break from Tubi, maybe.
yeah, I don't know. It's you see, sometimes you get some really good shit, like rarely, but sometimes you find some gems. Just it was okay. So it's not a.
I recommended Joss to one of my friends, by the way, and he loved it. So
Cool Joss?
yeah.
That's so good. Like
Yeah.
I hope more people watch it.
Right.
All right, you got anything else, or do you want to just move on to?
I got nothing else this week. Yeah, I just had the book, and then we had to watch the 3 movies, so didn't have much else time.
All right, sounds good.
Trivia?
Do it.
Give me a second. I'm just joking. I'll be fine.
Actually,
right.
I didn't get any questions from Kayla this week.
Me
so
neither.
what the hell?
Me neither.
I panicked.
Kayla, you on vacation?
Yes, me too. I have 3 Google tabs open of questions. So. All right, scores are as follows. I am in the lead with 71. Steve, second place, 70. Joe, 68. Sam, 41. This is game number 28. Who would like to lead off tonight?
I'll lead us off. In honor of Fear Street, written by our man R.L. Stein, a great man from I think most of our childhoods, for people my age anyway. I decided to do all R.L. Stein themed trivia this week. So good luck. I see Steve already is scared.
Is the answer Goosebumps, or else I'm pretty fucked?
It is not. It is not. But all of these questions are like pretty like guesses, you know? So like you'll all have a chance here. All right. So my very first one is, this is just a ballpark number. So whoever gets closest will get it. But about how many books has R.L. Stein written?
125.
125 on the board.
I'm going to go 80.
80 on the board.
Sam's looking at her collection right now, counting them. I have the complete collection.
And it's not just Goosebumps. Fear Street. We're talking Fear Street. We're talking Goosebumps.
Has he done like a legit adult horror?
He actually has. I've never read it, but he wrote it about maybe 10 years ago now. I want to say maybe a little less. Yeah.
I'm gonna go on the higher side, and I'm gonna guess 235.
Sam,
Oh,
you are closest. So there's no, man, I looked like everywhere, and there's no exact number of how many books Stein has written, because they said he's always writing so many that you can't like put an exact number on it. But over on his website, it says he has written over 350 books.
wow.
Actually, that makes sense, because I have a friend who sent me a message when he heard we were doing Fear Street, and he watched them, and he says he didn't know until this past week that R.L. Stein was actually a person. He thought it was a moniker that people used to write Goosebumps books. So it had consistency, because there were so many, he thought it couldn't be possibly one person.
Yeah, right. I've always wondered that too. I'm like, how the hell can he crank out so many books? Like, it's impressive. He's just a really talented, I guess, fast writer.
Because people say that about King, and he probably only has like 70 books. So
Yeah.
I mean, they are shorter stories, though.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, not knocking R.L. Stein. I'm just saying, don't be trying to compare R.L. to Steven.
I don't think anyone is.
Well, it
I mean, I guess
sounded
he.
I'm
I
team
guess
RL,
he.
obviously.
I guess you could say he's like the children's version.
Well,
of Stephen
they're
King.
friends, so yeah.
He's the gatekeeper,
Yeah.
the gateway.
Absolutely.
He is
Sam?
one I'd love to meet. He doesn't do cons though, but he would.
Can you imagine meeting R.L. Stein? I
That'd
would
be cool.
I would cry. I would cry.
Some sweaty nerd would be like, in episode number 69 of Fear Street. You're up, Sam. You got it right.
All right. This is whoever can guess closest.
Okay.
How many books are in Fear Street?
The Fear Street series. Okay.
I'm gonna go 15.
Okay, we got 15 on the board.
Going 21.
21.
I'm gonna say 40.
40. Steve is the closest. There are 17 books in
Wow.
the
all
Fear
right.
Street series.
I thought there was
nice.
more. Interesting.
You're up, Steve.
All right. What's the name of the company behind escape rooms in Escape Room?
Oh, that's a great one. That's a good. It's a good question.
Escape rooms.
Not that I can remember though.
With a Z.
Yeah, it should be, but no.
Escape Factory.
It's like some weird corporation name, but I can't remember it.
Escape Core.
EF Corp.
You guys all give up?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's Minos Corporation.
Minos? Like you're a big
Minos?
Minos.
they say it a lot in the movies.
Oh.
Yeah, because I rewatched the first Escape Room.
Yeah, I remember them mentioning it a lot in the first movie.
Yeah.
All right. This 1981 horror film features a hospital as the main setting.
Halloween 2.
Oh, I don't know, honestly. That was
What? I got it.
to the tapes.
Yeah, I'll
I heard
go to the tapes.
Steve say something, but I don't know.
I said Halloween 2 for sure.
Okay.
All three you said Halloween 2.
Yeah, I'll check the
Well,
tapes
I
on this
started
one.
saying Halloween, and then it triggered everyone else's brain. So then Steve said it faster than I
I
did.
can't take this pressure.
I'll check it. Okay.
I'm leaving that blank for everybody until you get it.
Speaking of Halloween 2, NECA just announced today a 2-pack of Mike Myers and Sam Loomis. First time we're getting a Sam Loomis like ultimate figure since the night he came home.
It looks freaking cool.
Box set. So yeah, I'm excited for that. Very cool.
And thanks to the con reigniting me, I'm gonna get it.
All right.
And, yeah.
Mike, back to me.
Yep.
All right. The very first Fear Street book, which was titled The New Girl, was published in what year?
1996.
Okay.
Let's go 94.
94. Okay.
95.
90. So who? 94 for Steve, 95 for Sam, 96 for Todd.
Yep.
Closest would be Steve. This actually surprised me. The very first Fear Street book came out in 1989, which was actually
nice.
predated Goosebumps, which I always thought Goosebumps came out before Fear Street, but Fear Street came first.
Very interesting. All right, Sam.
Sammer.
All righty. In the movie Fear Street, what is the main character's name?
The main character's name?
Yep.
But it's kind of sad I can't remember this.
I remember her girlfriend's name.
Yes, her girlfriend Sam. Yeah.
Fuck.
Nick Good. Arguably a main character. Just putting it out there.
Ziggy is the main character for 78.
Part 2.
God,
Good,
damn.
good is evil.
Is it Sadie?
No.
No. Isn't there a Sadie in this one though? Is there?
Sadie Stink is the main girl from Part 2. The actress's
That's the
name.
actress's name.
Her name is
okay.
Ziggy.
God, how embarrassing.
I know. I guess they don't say it a lot. I don't
They
know.
probably do. It was so forgettable.
All right. Her name is Dina.
Dina.
Yeah,
I would have never.
I
I
don't
would
remember
have
that.
never. No. Female Vin Diesel.
All right.
Yeah, come over here. Hey, we gotta find the witch's fucking hand. Man.
That's all on Sam, by the way. She's like, she sounds exactly like Vin Diesel, and then I couldn't.
She did
unhear it.
on the first one, yeah.
That's hilarious. I thought she was very raspy. I didn't think Vin Diesel would now I do.
All right.
Fast and Furious.
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Or family.
Jamie Lee Curtis starred in 3 horror films in 1980. Terror Train.
Fog. Sorry, I thought you were asking to name him. Oh, it's Fog? Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So, well, that's part of it.
Oh.
Terror Train and what 2 other films? The Fog is one of them.
The Fog Prom Night.
Did I start talking first, Joe? What are you coming in for?
Oh shit! All right, sorry.
Fog and the Fog and Prom Night.
All right. Well, both of you kind of had one each.
Just give us all a point.
What? I would get a point before Joe.
Hold on, let me think. The Fog.
Wait, no, we said all 3.
Yeah, I said the first one.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So,
Wait,
yeah,
what's your question though?
It was going to be because Terror Train was my other watch. So I was going to say she starred in 3 films in 1980. Terror Train and what other 2 films?
Oh.
But you said the Fog. They said Prom Night. I'll give you all the point.
All right, we'll take it.
We all get a point?
Yeah, all of you. Because
Okay.
Todd
I think
said
it
the
should
Fog.
just be me and Todd, and then I said Prom Night. And then Joe
I
Joe
kind of
tried
heard
to.
Prom Night at the same time for both of you. So
Thank you.
How? Because I said it fast and I yelled. The mic is
You did say
practically in my
fast,
mouth.
right?
Steve, come on. I thought we were a family.
All right, ready?
Yes.
This 1982 horror film features a TV that you do not want to get sucked into.
Poltergeist.
Sam with the
Yeah,
point.
that's Sam for sure. Sam killing it tonight.
82, huh? I thought it was later.
I did too. I was like, oh shit, that's not it.
Mm-hmm.
My birth year, so that's why I remember that.
Terror Vision.
Oh my god, now the song's in my head. No.
All right, Joe.
Okay.
Last one.
Fast
Okay.
and Furious 6.
No. All right. So, roughly, how many books has R.L. Stein sold in his career?
Sold?
Gosh.
Ooh.
Wait,
200,
is it money or books? Like,
Books.
okay.
200 million bucks.
200 million on the board.
That's pretty good. I'll say 300 million.
300 million.
Been going at it for quite a while.
Okay, what did Steve say? 300 and
300. Todd said
200?
200.
I'm going to go with 500.
500? Oof. Probably that.
Yeah, I'd say Sam is closest. She did go a little over, but she's definitely the closest. As he has sold over 450 million
Wow.
books.
Jeez.
That's crazy.
Isn't that insane?
Well, I was thinking, I was like, this was the example I used. I was like, okay, got to think of how many sets of million of albums Britney Spears has sold. And I'm like, R.L. Stein was before that. People are still buying the books. Like, think of all
Still
the
to
kids in
this
every
day,
household
yeah.
that wanted those books.
I like your thought process, though.
He's been like, yeah, he's been churning these out for like 40 years, and like there's always been like a R.L. Stein book on the shelves. It's crazy.
Yeah, and I wonder if that counts. Like, how many of his Goosebumps books were resold? You know,
Right,
like,
exactly. Oh my
at
God,
flea
yeah.
markets and it's crazy. Like, to think
Every
about.
time we go to a thrift store, there's
Every time.
at least
There's
like
always-
two or three Goosebumps books just sitting on the shelf. Yeah.
Every time, yeah.
Mhm.
All right, Sam, last one.
Last one. Okay. All right, we got a tagline here.
All right.
You guys ready?
Yes.
Oh, she's looking at her DVD shelf.
Okay, here we go. Face the evil.
I would say it's a Halloween movie, but maybe
Face the evil.
Mm-hmm.
Halloween.
Face the evil.
I'm gonna go 5.
Halloween 2.
Only 5.
We got Halloween 2, Halloween 5.
Ouija, Origin of Evil.
You know what? Those were all great guesses, but it's Fear Street.
Oh, all right.
Man,
I
we
was trying not
suck.
to make it obvious.
Perfect.
I like the misdirection, though.
That's great. All right, my last one. What's the name of the hotel in Hell House LLC?
The Abaddon
That's
Hotel.
correct. Yep.
The movie Sex Ass Hotel.
Huh.
I like the first one.
I know.
Yeah, the first one's
like
not
it.
bad. It's not bad. Man, I rewatched it recently. And it takes a long time to get going, but once it gets going, it does get good.
Yeah.
I've been meaning to try that one again for a couple years now. It's like
It has some legit like creepy parts.
Yeah.
my turn.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. This 1983 film
Ooh.
features a killer dog.
Cujo.
Cujo.
Steven with the Cujo.
Man's best friend.
All right.
Is that
That's
it?
it. That's it. Yep.
Wait, I have a bonus one.
Oh, boner.
Excellent.
Question.
Okay. In Fear Street, Dina's younger brother, Josh, is seen chatting online.
Queen of Air and Darkness.
All right, Potter.
Wow.
Yes.
Good call. I would have never gotten that.
It's in my notes. My questions to you guys like, what the fuck does that mean? Queen of Air and Darkness. I don't get it, but all right. Big night for Sam. 4 points. Myself 2. Joe 2. Steve 3. Which, or with one that we don't know who's gonna get the point between those three. So we'll see. Brings our current total to Steve and Todd tied at first with 73. Joe 70. Sam 45.
Woo woo.
All
Please send in your questions because we are miserable and we are stupid without them.
Yep.
All right. Fear Street?
Yeah.
I'm going to pull it up on the old letterbox here. All right. Fear Street Part 1, 1994. 1994, a group of teenagers discover that the terrifying events which have haunted their town for generations are all connected and that they may be the next targets. It's pretty broad.
Dun, dun, dun. Yeah.
Well, I'll do the start off for this one. This sets up a mall with Stranger Things Part 3 lead character. I forget her name.
Maya Hawke.
Maya Hawke, who's a babe. But she's working in a bookstore. And she gets a call similar to kind of like, Scream. She calls her buddy over at the sex shop, smoke shop, something like that. I didn't really know what it was. And then she gets stalked throughout the mall. And it's an opening kill that is pretty much a carbon copy of Scream, right? That shot where it comes up behind her. And honestly, this first scene was pretty damn cool. Like, I was really into it. I'm like, oh, this is not what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be what it ended up being. But right now I was like, oh, this is really cool. Close-ups of knives going into the chest multiple times, cop coming in and killing the dude. I'm like, wow, this is like going all out. But it kind of quickly loses steam from that point for me. I really don't know who would like to take over this one. I'm a little at a loss here.
Sure, I'll jump in there. So yeah, I mean, obviously, like, I was very excited going into this because, like, a 3-part series about Fear Street, I really liked the idea. I thought the idea of it was cool, so excited to check out this first one. And this one's very mixed results for me in this first one, 1994. First of all, there's like really weird choices, like the music, although great. Some of the songs are later than 1994, which was like made no fucking sense whatsoever. But whatever, like, I can look past that, I guess. Like Todd said, opening scene, awesome. Obviously they were borrowing heavily off of Scream, but I was cool with that because, like, it was a cool homage, and I really liked that costume, the skull guy costume. And then we get in and meet like these main characters here, Dina and Sam and the brother and stuff like that. And like, I don't know, it just like takes like a really weird turn where like it does, obviously, like after you watch the sequels, like it makes sense. But for a while I was like, what the fuck is going on here? But I mean, there were like aspects of this, which obviously we can get into, that I really liked. And then there were some aspects I really didn't like. So yeah, I mean, I'll leave it at that for now.
Yeah. Can we get some supervision on the bus? Like, where was the adult supervision on the bus? Seriously.
Yeah.
They're standing up, opening doors, getting tailgated. Like, we need to figure this out.
Mm-hmm.
So I agree with Todd and Joe so far. I wasn't really sure what to expect, but when they showed the first kill, which we could all tell it was from Scream, I was like, oh wow. I was like, damn, this is like gonna be good. And then, like, it was cool how it started. Well, after the first kill, how it started, where we see Dina and we see her brother Chris, kind of the relationship between them, how she's kind of like ahead of their household, taking care of him. They go to school, and we meet like all the different friends in the groups, all the different kinds of people, like the jock and the everything, Okay, so I was excited with the music, but then I just felt like it was too much. It was like they were trying too hard. Like, I fucking get it. It's in the 90s. Like, you already got me. I'm already here. I don't need to hear a fucking 90s tune every 2 minutes. Literally every 2 minutes, it's a new song. So that kind of got a little annoying, but still whatever. I don't know. I feel like, so I know that it was great because we see Dina and Sam, which is a lesbian couple, but I feel like Dina is kind of toxic. That might be an unpopular opinion because I don't know. I just felt like Sam wasn't ready to come out and to face whatever she wanted. And I feel like Dina was just being so like manipulative towards her and just like demanding of her, not respecting her thoughts. So I'm just saying, I feel like she's a little toxic. I'm probably going to get some hate for saying that.
Not at all. She made it all about her.
And yeah, it was all about her.
Like, you moved, like, what 17-year-old gets to choose where they move, Demi. Like, shut up.
Exactly. It's like she was like, you chose this, you chose to leave. And I'm like, she had to go because her parents, like, geez, it's already hard enough for a 17-year-old
She wanted
starting
some
a new
dong. She
school.
can't have some dong every now and then.
And maybe she's still curious. Maybe she doesn't know what she wants yet. And then Dina's just like, I don't know. It was just a little too much when she's like, what did she ask her? She's like, did you touch him or did he touch
Did you
you?
suck your way or something like
Yeah.
that?
And I'm just like, whoa,
And the
you
guy
need to
nodded too. He was like,
relax. Yeah. I did not like that. And then how Todd talked about where they're on the bus and she's like getting so upset that she wants to chuck this cooler at them. Maybe she just wanted to pour the liquid, but I'm like, what did you think was going to happen? Like, way to go, because you couldn't control your anger. Okay, I'll stop. I'll stop for there. It's fine.
And I agree with all of you, basically with everything everyone said. I especially wrote like what Sam said, how heavy-handed they were with the 90s music. Like, we get it, it's the fucking 90s. Like, you don't need to do song after song after song of like mini montages to these 90s hits. It didn't bother me as much that some of them were not from they're post 94. I think they're just kind of encompassing all the 90s into one.
Mm-hmm.
So that didn't bother me too much.
Music still plays on the radio, so
but it was like music that hasn't been written yet technically that they were playing. But whatever, that didn't bother me all that much. I just found that the whole movie was kind of like slow, and they spent a lot of time kind of planning out the end, but like way too long. Like, they just kind of talk about it and talk about it and talk about it. I'm like, fuck shit, like nothing's really happening in this movie, and that was kind of boring. I like that they were setting up this kind of rivalry between Shadyside and Shadyvale. Unfortunately, and we'll talk about it in the other movies, that doesn't play out really all that importantly later on. Like, it's not that big a deal, but in this movie they kind of make it like a big deal. Just slow. It's just like boring a little bit. I found that it was getting really long. I think the movie is an hour 50, and I think it could have easily been like an hour and a half, hour 20.
Been an hour.
That's my big problem with this entire series, honestly. Like, all three movies are over an hour and like 50 minutes, and it's just like way too long, dude. Like, cut it up a little. Like, there was no need for any of these movies to be over an hour and 30 minutes. And like Todd said, honestly, I think it might have worked better as 3 1-hour episodes or something.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, so that's really up until the first scene, like you guys said, was great, and the last scene I thought was pretty cool, but everything in between I thought was super long and kind of boring. So wasn't a huge fan of this one, but it was okay.
I thought the kills were good. They definitely did good with that. I didn't like any of the characters, like none of them. I liked the younger brother. Younger brother was cute. He's a good kid. Josh, but I didn't like the main girl. The cop was like, what is this guy doing? Mm-hmm. I would have liked them all. I liked the killer. Just that quick scene with what's her face, Miss Hawk, and then the killer, like her friend. That relationship was more interesting to me in 2 minutes than the whole movie was. And
I agree, actually. Yeah.
Plus, like the neon lighting, the mall setting, closed mall, victims, cop, security, custodian, whatever. That's a good movie in the making. And I did not like this. Like, the pacing was terrible. It would get good. Oh, fuck yeah. And even in the middle of a scene, it would cut to some sappy shit. Usually about her saying, like, you fucking left me. Shut up. Just shut up. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I wasn't a fan either.
Yeah, I mean, I liked obviously this first movie is just like a setup, right? Like, for the next two movies, pretty much. Yeah. And I think that's why it's the weakest one, honestly. I'll say it right now, spoiler alert, it's the weakest one of the three, in my opinion. And I think that's probably why, because like it's just a lot of setup, and not a lot of like payoff. Now there is some good payoff. Like I do like these killers that like are coming out, and like I liked all three of those characters there that we see. The skull guy, Ruby Rose, is that her name? And
Ruby Lane. Yeah.
Ruby Lane, yeah. And
Nighthawk.
The whatever killer, Nighthawk killer or whatever. All three of those characters are really cool, and I like seeing them kind of like attacking, but like at the same time I was like, what like the fuck is even going on?
Who are they? Like,
right? Yeah, like we don't really because like was there even a mention of the witch really yet or anything like thing?
A little
like,
bit, but not
a little
much.
bit, but like not much. Yeah. So like, Yeah, it's just like a lot of like, I was just like, what is happening? And then it started like to come out towards the end. But yeah, I mean, the kills are awesome. And that fucking bread slicer kill was just like chef's kiss. Like I did not see that coming. And it was so cool. It was so good. I wish the body count was a little higher, which I mean, we do get a much higher body count in the next movie, which we'll get to, but I would like to see a little more deaths here. But I mean, they did surprise me because I was not expecting those 2 deaths in the supermarket with the 2 friends. So I do think the movie did get a little better, like as it progressed, but still the weakest for me.
I don't know if it's the weakest for me. I'm still deciding. But I feel like with the bread slicing kill, I loved that. And Kate, Dina's best friend, like she was kind of annoying to me at the beginning, but then I did start liking her in the middle. And so I was really shocked that they killed her. Plus Simon. Like I can't believe they killed like the 2 best friends. So I was shocked by that. But
Was Simon the comedic relief guy?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I feel like I don't know. I feel like I need to revisit 2 again because I feel like with 1, the kills you could see them more because everything was in the dark on the second one. So I'm not getting a boner over the kills like everyone else is. Like what kills? There was only like 2 or 3
most of them
that you
were off
could see
screen
in the
in
light.
the second.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, Joe's like acting like it was so cool.
No, the body count was higher. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, but also I wanted to get your guys' take because I just was not feeling this is when I tuned out of 1 was the whole everyone having sex. I'm like, I don't want to see no little grade schoolers having sex. Like, what the fuck?
I mean, it happens in every like teenage horror movie, though.
I don't
right?
know. They're like 13 years old. I'm just saying.
I thought it was weird with
they're
the
supposed to
friend
be,
going
like, in
after
high
Josh.
school.
Because Josh, to me, I thought he was like a middle schooler.
Yeah, but like everyone
Maybe
had
he's a
like everyone,
freshman.
all everyone was thinking about was sex when you're like that age. So
And
like
not
it
when I'm
makes
about to
sense.
die.
Yeah, especially when you're about to die.
You think?
That's why you're
But, like,
dying in the horror movie.
I mean, did you probably have a problem when like Nev and Billy Loomis there
Yes.
were having sex?
Yeah.
And they have that hot sex scene Scream, and they're like what, like 16 or
When
whatever.
do they have sex and Scream? He wouldn't
But
let
they
her
look
sex.
older though. Like
They have
these
sex
kids
in the
look
Oh, at the end.
young.
Never mind. No, you're right. You're right.
They look older though. They were like in their 20s and 30s,
Yeah.
acting like high schoolers.
These kids
where
do look
These
younger. It
kids
is a
look
little
a little young.
uncomfortable,
So
yeah. I
my
get it.
little like mind was like, wait a minute, what's going on? But also like sometimes I felt like it was very like goosebumpsy, which is fine. But then I felt like it was like they were wanting to be like a sexy young adult movie, but then also like a horror movie. It was just a lot.
Should have
Yeah.
committed to something.
Should have
Yeah,
committed
it
to
was-
something, but the
it was
kills were
weird.
like the best part. But then when it goes to the story, I'm like, I felt like I was watching like just like a Goosebumps, which I get it because it's Fear Street. I'm trying to describe it in a certain way, but
Mhm. Yeah, it's weird because like it does like it's a high school movie, but it kind of is like a little bit juvenile at times too. So like kind of has like an identity crisis there. And like I understand, okay, it's like Fear Street, which like that it is like a young adult novel, but at times they do go into that adult territory. So yeah, that's a good point. Like
it's
that
like if
is a
you're
bit
gonna be
weird.
goosebumpsy, don't do the sex scene. But if you're not gonna be goosebumpsy, then do the sex scene. Have all the teenage sex you want. But when I feel like I'm watching something on ABC Family at 6:30 at night, I don't know. It's fine.
Yeah, we should also mention that the same director did all 3 of these movies too. Lee Janiak is her name. So I don't know what she's done before this, but I'll IMDb this while we continue.
And then I also agree that they're a little too long, but maybe we would have felt, do you think we would have felt different if it was episodes, like if it was 8 episodes that we were aware of instead of like 3 parts?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I
It
don't
would
think
be
we would have.
more.
I think it would have been more forgivable,
Yeah.
I guess, because it would have been like, a series rather than 3 movies. When you're just treating it as just like each one is a standalone movie, hour and 50 minutes is way too long for I don't even know what you would call this, like a young adult horror movie, I guess, but not really. like you said, it's kind of an identity crisis thing, but it's just way too long. All 3 of them are way too long.
All right. Well, that brings us into 1978, and the setup is in the ending of the first one, they figure out or they remember some shit that this happened back in 78 at a camp, and that girl lived. So they end up tracking her down and calling her like, hey, you need to tell us a secret. How'd you live through your event? Blah, blah, blah. So eventually they get to the girl's house, and she tells them the story of her encounter. So that's why we go back to 1978, and it stars Sadie Sink from Stranger Things fame, and they're at a camp called Camp Nightwing or Nighthawk, something like that. And basically, it's like the same story, but set in a camp setting, where we have more witches and more of the story is revealed to us, and we have, in my opinion, the best out of the series. So, what they corrected, at least for me, was like I didn't like the characters in the first one, but this one I did, and I thought they're all pretty cool. Even with their teenage angst, and it was like, whatever. But I enjoyed, the pothead duo, even though I didn't think the chick was that enjoyable. Sadie was great. Nick Good, the character was cool, which in this movie he's a nice hero, which is nice. He's a really good guy in this one. And then you have the sister who's like the goody two shoes, but it's for a good reason. But the sister kind of resents her because like she feels like she's being abandoned by her older sister. And I just liked it. I liked everything about this except for the runtime and except for the pacing, which I still think is really off because it's getting good and then they cut it. I'm like, what are you doing? We've already had a setup in the first movie. The sequel should just be nothing but good stuff. But then they're still doing setup and they're still cutting action scenes and horror scenes to talk about shit that's going on, which is incredibly frustrating. And yeah, long story short, I like this one.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. This is probably my favorite one out of the three. I mean, I think the summer camp. I said when I was watching with Sam, I was like, they needed to bring back like the summer camp like movie setting in horror movies. Like, it just brought back like such like nostalgic vibes, obviously. But yeah, I mean, I like the setup. Obviously, like there's like with what's her face there from that show Love we watched, Sam.
Oh, Jillian Jacobs.
Yeah, Jillian Jacobs. I really like her. She's like, the setup of the girl who's Sadie Sink's character, right, when she's older or whatever. But it's like interesting to go. I like that setup, and then we go back into this summer camp setting back in the 70s. Obviously, like big Friday the 13th vibes like throughout. Where were the adults though? Like me and Sam said this, like there's not one adult at that summer camp.
It's
like
the future sheriff. He's in charge.
Apparently.
Like 18.
I didn't mind that there weren't any adults there, but it was just really fucking bizarre. Like you have all this crazy shit happening and like, there's no like owners of the camp or anything around or anything. But yeah, no, I really like this one. I wish, like Sam said, there were more on-screen kills because it's mainly off-screen kills. And I think maybe it was like they were scared to kill kids on screen since it's more like young adults and stuff like that. But I don't know. They had no problem doing it in the first one. So just
well, they
like
killed like kids in this one though.
Yeah, they did. And I felt bad for the nerd.
Yeah,
he went and hacked up that nerd.
He got the axe to the head, right?
He did. But yeah, no, I mean, Sadie Sink, like her as the main character was great. I loved her character. You could like really connect with her. Yeah, I mean, honestly, like Todd said, I think the characters here are all great. Like, unlike I did not enjoy the characters as much in that first movie. But in here, everyone, like I was kind of like rooting for everyone. Honestly, even like the killer dude, like before he turned, like I was enjoying him, and like, I kind of wish that he got the mask earlier. Like I think it would have been cooler and scarier. Like had they done that.
Still did pretty good though.
Yeah, no, it was still cool for just a dude like running around hacking people up. But I wish they did the mask a little earlier. I think that would have been a way cooler look for him. Obviously, I felt I got like Friday the 13th Part 2 vibes. I'm sure it was intentional with the sack head. But yeah, no, I really like this one. I didn't have many complaints. I think my biggest complaint is they built like this outhouse over a fucking like witch hut and like no one fucking like knew. Like
no one wondered where the shit goes.
Yeah. Like okay, like obviously like because they built
they gotta pump it.
Right. They have to go out down there and clean it, right? Like eventually
they just keep it. That's why it's an outhouse. Like they don't clean it.
Oh, you got to pump outhouses usually.
It would
stink. That's why it's like a huge hole. It's camp.
Okay. So let me say that, but even so, like you're just gonna throw a hut over it and not like go down into that like cave like at all to like see what's down there.
But the cave is there, but I don't think they explored like the actual witch's cave. It's just that hole, and then it like has a path of going into where that thing is. I don't think and it's back in the 70s. Like fucking shit in a hole and cover it with dirt and move on with life. Like,
All right. I mean, maybe. I just
Can't.
thought that was a little bizarre. I thought that was a bit of a stretch, but yeah, no, I really enjoyed this one, honestly, from beginning to end. My biggest complaint, once again, like Todd said, is the runtime. There was just times where it dragged, where it was unnecessary. And I think if you cut this down to an hour and a half, this is like a 9 for me. But as it is, my rating's different.
So for me, the only downside is about the kills. I get that there were kids being killed, but I saw like 5 people fucking in this movie. Show me a fucking kill on screen. Damn. Like I saw some nipples, I saw some
Where do we see nipples
titties.
at?
It's like it's like a blurry nipple.
Oh,
Like
Yeah,
like they always
that-
move
That
the
chick's
camera
riding
like
out,
really
yeah.
fast to where it blurs
The hippie chick.
the scene. But yeah, okay, so I loved Sadie in this. She was so good. Like, I don't know, I just felt like that was me. I was like, "Oh my god, I totally get you, girl." So I really liked the character of Ziggy and then the older version of Ziggy that we get to know. And I just thought Ziggy and Cindy's relationship, like just the journey that we go on with them is so endearing. I think if I watched it without Joe, I probably would have cried like 5 times. And especially at the end where she tries to sacrifice her life for Ziggy and where they're just both being killed. I'm just like, I don't know, it's kind of gruesome, but it was so beautiful to watch too, if that makes sense. Like it was just shot really nicely.
poetic.
And yeah, poetic. Yeah. I loved Tommy. I felt bad for him because he seemed like a sweet guy. What else? I think that's it for now. But yeah, this one probably was my favorite too. Just because it was, even though like Todd mentioned it would go up and then kind of fall flat and then go up, it just like it happened a lot quicker. Like it threw more things at you a little bit more so you could keep up with it. But yeah.
Yeah, I also liked it the best out of the 3. I thought it was the most fun and the one that kind of was the best on its own, without the overall kind of trilogy having kind of looming over it. I thought it was the best, like full-on movie. I thought again they were heavy-handed with the damn music though. The whole first half hour they play like 8 70s songs and do the same type of thing they did with the 90s, which kind of made me curious about what they do in 1666 because not a lot of banging music from the 1660s. So that was like kind of annoying. I love the Back to the Future reference at the beginning of the film. I thought that was really cool and clever with all the clocks and all that stuff, which reference like straight up Back to the Future. That was fun. I loved all the kills, even though we don't see them. Just thinking about them was really brutal. I wish we had seen them, like you guys said, but still, it was cool that there were a bigger like kill count because it made the stakes higher and you didn't really know who would survive and who would live, and I thought that was fun. Speaking of that stupid hole though, because I agree with Joe, like did no one lift a toilet and look to see, okay, why am I shitting into like a deep cave? Like it just didn't make sense to me. But the other thing is, was their plan really to drop down a bucket to bring up a human through that hole? Because that did not seem like a very
Hey, it
good
worked in
plan
the
to me.
Goonies. It worked in the Goonies.
Exactly. It's like, what's different than the bucket? It's like, it would be like if there was a little block of wood, like a little swing that you swing in the tree. It's just the
Yeah.
I
rope
said
and
the same
block of
thing though,
wood.
Steve. I said the same thing to Sam. I was like, "There's no way
I
you'd be
mean, they're
able
gonna
to
try
pull that much
anything that
weight
they
up."
wouldn't you
That's-
try it?
The
You
rope
would
would have
try
snapped.
it. You would try it
The rope would
though.
have
You would
snapped.
try it,
The
of
bucket
course,
would
yeah.
have, the handle, the bucket would have snapped.
I
Something
get
would
it.
have. Anyway,
get
but
it.
those are just nitpicks, really.
Oh, wait. And also, sorry, Steve, go ahead.
I'll finish.
Okay, I got really excited, you guys, because the girl that played, what's her name?
The bully girl.
The bully girl. I can't remember her name.
The short-haired one?
No, she's like the long hair one that wanted to. She was
She
like
gets the
trying to
bugs
burn
thrown on her.
with the bugs
Oh,
thrown on
yeah.
her.
That little turd.
Oh my god. Okay, she's from Cruel Summer, that show I was raving about. So I got so excited when she was in it. I was like, "Oh my god, she's amazing." She was amazing in this too. What the fuck was like? Oh yeah. I wanted to touch base because I know I was like, if I'm like fine with the people having sex in this, that's just because I felt like they were a little older and they looked older. So it was more believable to me. Like, I don't know, just saying, just throwing that out there, whatever.
And my big complain about this one is the end. I don't know if you guys want to, I guess we could just talk about the end of the this episode now, where Sadie Sink's character gets stabbed like 40 times, but is basically totally fine after. Like she's talking and like talking to the guy like nothing really ever happened. It was kind of like, okay, come on.
Yeah.
There's
no way you're surviving that. She got stabbed so many fucking times. Like, yeah, that's.
But wait, do you think? Okay, I get it because she would have been murdered. But do you think because Nick saved her, like the devil's like, well, you've been bringing me all these bodies, so here's a little something for you.
Yeah,
maybe, but was he bad yet? Was he bad yet at that point?
He
Nick?
was.
Like he was.
Yeah, he was because he wrote the guy's name down to.
Okay.
Yeah.
What did you guys think of the witch heart in this one? We get exposed to the beating like witch heart in the middle there.
It? Who's gonna touch that? Nobody. Come on.
I don't know. Like I might.
Joe
like
would, damn it.
I probably would honestly. Yeah, I don't know. I'd be like so curious. I'd probably like put my finger on it.
A beating blob in the ground.
Like, what the fuck is this thing? But yeah, I mean, I don't know. We'll get into it on the last one. Like the whole witch backstory, it's like interesting. Like I kind of liked it.
It's probably the weakest part, though, man. To me, it's
probably the weakest. Yeah, you might be right about that.
It's like the wraparound is like the most uninteresting part of this series, you know.
Yeah, I get it.
But that last side by side kill is fucking great.
Great. Yeah, it was shot so well. Yeah, I really liked it.
Like Sam said, it's sad and it looks good.
It looks so good. Yeah.
Yeah, and we get introduced to more killers here. Is it in this one where like they fucking start? You see them start coming out of the heart too, and
you don't see them fully though. They're kind of like blobs coming out of the heart, so you don't know who they are.
It's cool.
I have an unpopular opinion, real quick. I did not like Ruby. I hated her. I'm like,
which
you
one's
didn't
that?
like her? The one that stings.
I didn't like her. She was not scary at all.
The killer that stings.
Like, bitch, shut the fuck up and go on. Damn. Not scary at all.
Did you guys think that would be the villain in 1666 though? Because we had seen the other two.
No,
I didn't.
See, I thought because there's 3 killers in 94. There was the skull mask. There was this guy from 78. So I figured, okay, there's one more killer. That's the one that's going to be featured in 1666. And when it wasn't, I was kind of confused. And that
we get other ones too. We have no idea about. You get that creepy dude with the doll face mask.
Yeah,
he might be my favorite. Honestly, he's so fucking weird and creepy looking.
He looks cooler than Ruby.
Yeah, definitely. And then you get and then you get like the burned milkman guy type guy. He's pretty fucking creepy too. Is that it? It's those 5 I think are like the main 5 we see.
Yeah, I think so.
But yeah, anyway. they're all cool in their own right.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. Brings us to part 3. So basically at the end of part 2 though, she wraps up her story and she, tells him I survived because Nick brought me back to life. Who at this point we still think is like a heroic character because he saved the day in part 1, saved the day in part 2. But there's more to Nick, guys. There's more to Nick good. Anyway, we get back to part 2 and they finish it off and then I don't know even what happened, honestly. Fear Street,
so part 2 ends with her. What does she do? She does like something where she transports into Sarah Fear's body, who is the witch. But I forget how
puts the hand back on the body. Is that what it is?
That's right. They find the witch's hand. Yeah. And like they put it on. Yeah, she puts it on the body to try to like. They hope that will end things. But instead, she gets transported into Sarah Fear's body, and that starts off 1666.
Which is, in 1666, a colonial town is gripped by a hysterical witch hunt that has deadly consequences for centuries to come. And it's up to teenagers in 1994 to finally put an end to their town's curse before it's too late. Ooh. And by the way, the director, I've seen all her films. She directed one called Honeymoon.
Honeymoon is great. I really like Honeymoon. Yeah. That's a really good. Is that all she's done?
Honeymoon and these 3. Yep.
That's it. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So with with part 1, I didn't like this one. Just spoiler alert. So I don't remember a whole lot. I tuned it out pretty close in because don't make the people have accents if they can't pull it off. It's just better to have them just be normal. We can forgive it. Like I don't need to see Tom Cruise do a German accent. I don't need to see these kids do colonial America, whatever it is. It just didn't work. So right away I was like, oh no, they're doing that already. The setting didn't look real to me. Costumes, it looked like they were playing dress up. So, and I didn't buy these people as being teenagers in 1600s. I obviously don't know what that was like, but it definitely wasn't like this. So, yeah, whoever wants to go.
Yeah, so I was like really excited for this one, obviously, because like I love like colonial period piece. Obviously, The Witch is like one of my favorite horror movies ever. And The Witch, this was not. There was one thing I hated about this part, and it was using the same actors from the first like two movies as like the main characters in this one. It just didn't work. It made no sense to me. It was like we were getting Sarah Fier's backstory, this like witch character. Use a different actress. Like she is such a pivotal role, but like they use like the same, you know, main actresses and like main other actors and stuff who obviously cannot pull off the accents at all. And it's just like completely takes you out of this setting. However, I did like enjoy it. Like I was able to like look past it after like the first like 20 minutes. I was like absolutely hating it. But then I was like, all right, well, let me just go with it. I kind of liked the witch hysteria part they did. Like, you know, it was interesting. Obviously, like you had, you know, like Sarah Fierce, obviously, we find out she was like a lesbian, like our main characters, and you know, basically she was being persecuted for that. But then we find out more, which we can get into later. But I thought there was a lot of cool stuff in this part. The main cool part being that preacher who snaps and kills the kids in the church. That part was fucking awesome. I loved that. I love how all their eyeballs were cut out and shit. I thought that part was great. It was really creepy. It really worked. And then all of a sudden we just get like flipped and we end up back in 1994, but we can talk about that later. But the first part of this 1666, very, very mixed results.
So this one, I really wasn't looking forward like I was with the other ones, just because I don't like period pieces like this. It's just, I don't know. I'd rather watch other stuff. But I also like Joe and Todd, right when they show Dina as Sarah Fier, I was like, what the fuck? Like, Jesus Christ. If we're seeing it through her, she just could have talked in her normal accent and I would have enjoyed that more. It's like, I know that it's Dina who is seeing what happened to Sarah. So she's talking in her voice, but then if they showed other people in that time hearing an accent, like switch back and forth a little bit, I would have enjoyed that more. And like Joe said, I wanted to see the girl that was the actual Sarah Fier. Like those were some of my favorite parts whenever Dina would kind of get that jolt and it would be like the frame matches up with Sarah and with Dina, but it's Sarah's face. Like I wanted to see Sarah. I don't know. I think I was a little annoyed with Dina from part one. So I was like, can we get someone else showing for a little bit? And I guess like, if they would have done Dina as Sarah, that's fine. But I don't need everyone else popping up, making a fucking cameo. Like, sit your ass down and bring someone else in. I did not like that because I didn't buy it either. I felt like it was kind of watching a high school play. The costumes, I agree with Todd. It just didn't look, I don't know. But I will say, the scene in the church with the kids was really cool. I wish it could have been like eerie like that. And how Steve had mentioned, what are they going to do with the music? It's just such a different feeling. And I understand that the time is so different, but the music wasn't a big focus. Like they were shoving it up our ass on part one and part two, but like nothing really on part three. But my opinion kind of changes towards the end of part three, in a good way, I think. So that's all I'll say for now.
Yeah, I mean, I echo what you're all saying with this one. I think the worst part of this part of the like the 1666 stuff is that they're using the same actors. It just didn't make any sense, really. And not to mention they were focusing on the actors I didn't like, you know, like if they had focused on the actors from 78, which I liked more, I would have been happier than the ones from 94, which I didn't. So that was kind of a problem. And like Josh, for example, I didn't buy him being there at all. Like he doesn't have the face of a guy that lived in 1666. Like he looks like a 90s kid, you know. It's just stuff like that was annoying. I did like the atmosphere of it all. I thought the story thread was kind of interesting. You know how that they were hunting her because she's a witch. Because I like that kind of witch trial type deal. The lesbian scenes were a little hotter and heavier than I thought they would be. Like I thought they would just kind of glance over it, and she's like straight up eating her out, which was like, damn, okay, I didn't think they'd go there, which is disturbing because like I think Sam said,
Bush City.
She's like underage, which is gross. So that was kind of weird, but overall, I personally kind of liked the 1666 stuff. It was gruesome. The church scene was one of the best scenes in the whole series. It was just visually striking. Like it's the kind of room I could see them doing at a haunt, like at a Halloween Horror Nights or something like that room specifically. I would kind of wish they'd focus more on the priest though, like being kind of the villain, as opposed to just being kind of a prop piece for that one scene only. So that was a bummer. But overall, I like the 1666 part. It's actually the opposite from Sam. Me, it's the 94 stuff that I had issues with more so than the 66 part. So
I shout out to Nick Good in this one, who plays Solomon. I guess you could say. He might have been like my favorite part of the 16, like character wise, of the 1666. I thought he did a great job here. So, which actually I didn't realize
didn't
it
even
was
know
him.
It was the same guy though.
It took me a while to realize it was the same actor.
So they use everybody but Sadie. They have like 10 seconds.
She was there for like a second.
Yeah, she was there for like a few. Yeah,
she's dancing.
But why
she's
like
probably the most talented actress.
Right.
Yeah. Like when they showed her, I bought her as in being in that time. She was like the only one. But yeah.
I was waiting for Josh to pull out a Game Boy. Like he looks so modern.
I'm assuming it was like budgetary reasons is why they used all of the same actors.
I feel like they could have used unknown people, maybe a little less experience or less mainstream, and it would have been fine. I don't know if maybe they maybe because someone else younger watching it would get how Sarah felt about Hannah because that's how Dina felt about Sam. I don't know if maybe that's what they were trying to convey and how we could see all the friendships in the group, but I don't know what it was. I didn't, it wasn't my favorite.
It was less kills in this one, right? Like,
I mean,
quality kills, quantity kills.
There were a lot quantity, but not quality. So
yeah. I don't know. I like the first one. I just wanted to end, and it turned into a background piece for me. And I thought there was like moments of greatness in this one, which you guys have already all mentioned, but they kind of shied away from it. Like the church stuff, all good. Him chasing her around, all good. But then once again, we got pacing issues where we go, ooh, I want to see where this is going, and then we're back to sappy bullshit that I don't like. So yeah. So what happens in the 94 stuff? Because I honestly completely forgot once I got back to normal time.
So like in the middle of this, like I guess an hour into 1666, they hang Sarah Fear, obviously, and we see all that, and then just bang, like right, we just like flip back to 1994, and then it just says part 2, like of this movie, where we end up back into the 90s. And I kind of like forget like what the setup is basically, but I remember we end up back at the mall, and everyone is all the killers are basically going into the mall, and they concoct this plan they figure out that Nick Good is actually evil. And they concoct a plan to get Nick Good, the police officer, to come to the mall where they will trap him and defeat him basically, because he has to be defeated, because we find out that basically his whole family lineage have been like this good family, which obviously we get the big line, good is evil. But which I'm sure they thought they were so smart and witty when they wrote that line. But like, basically, his whole family lineage, which we see Solomon basically started it all. He made a blood pact with the devil, basically, to give him like all of the best things in life, and he passes it on from one family member to the next. And Nick Good is that family member now in 1994. we find all this out, and basically we have our big end showdown in the mall, which we start out with in the first movie, where they have to defeat Nick Good. And I think that's a good wrap up there. And with the same tree in this mall, where Sarah Fierce was hung, and apparently they built an entire tree around a mall, which I've never seen that in my life, but hey, I mean, whatever works.
Not even just a regular tree. Hey, we got to keep the witching hanging tree, guys.
Tree, yeah.
Yeah, that was stupid. It's just like, why that, like, they killed one person on that tree.
Yeah.
What are the odds that they picked that tree to build an entire mall around? Like, it just really didn't. I mean, obviously the mall wasn't there in 78, right? Because they did the camp thing, and they're like, you know what? Let's keep that one tree from the camp. And,
it'll look great in the mall.
Yeah, it's so fucking stupid. I had a few issues with this one. First, super heavy-handed on the 90s references in this one, as opposed to the music. Like the first one, it's like, hey, we got the Konami code. Remember that? That's very 90s of me. And then at the end with the CD player, like, what, did he invent a CD player, or trying to invent a CD player?
I thought the CD player was out, but they were like trying to, I think he was inventing the iPod, maybe.
The iPod,
I think it was the early stages of the iPod.
The MP3 player.
Yeah.
Why?
And
So
then
dumb.
like super soakers and shit. Why? Okay, so this plan, right? This Home Alone plan, so convoluted, so like ridiculous. Why the neon colors on everything? Like, was that necessary? Like,
It looked
Does
cool.
it look cool?
I'll give it that.
Does it
It
look
looked cool.
And their plan was so stupid. So it just happened that they had the exact amount of killers that, you know, they needed for this plan to work. Like, the other killers show up later for no other reason. Like, it's just, the whole thing made no
Like
fucking
when the
sense
killers
to me.
attacked each other, though.
I loved that.
That was cool, but why
Yeah.
didn't all the killers show up at once? Why did only the amount of killers
'Cause
that
it
they
looked
had
cool.
for the amount of doors? Yeah, and I hate shit like
Because
that.
usually that's all it takes. Those number of killers usually does it. Like, this is the
Yeah.
furthest they've gotten. So
Yeah, and
the blob's
killers,
like, shit, I got to step up my game.
yeah, and the killers, like, basically we find out, like, can't see, or like they only are attracted to the blood, right?
blood.
Like of who? The girl
Is
they're
Dina's
after
blood,
there?
Of
right?
Dina,
Dina's
yeah.
Because
blood,
she had
yeah,
her name.
because she like touched the witch or whatever. So I mean, that was cool though. Like, I kind of liked that idea. Like, I enjoyed when they trapped them all in the mall. I thought that was cool. Like how they each went into their own store and they trapped them in the store. I thought that was fun. And then when they attacked each other, I mean, this like whole scene, although like kind of corny and cheesy, I had a fun time with it overall.
But what about like Sam being possessed and just tied
Oh,
on
that was
a
so dumb.
pipe? I'm like, she's
Her
literally
whole
a
possessed
demon.
thing was so dumb.
This whole thing, I really didn't like the 94 part 2 stuff. You know, it was fun at times, like you said, when the killers were attacking each other and stuff, but I just wasn't buying a lot of it. And that when I don't buy something, it really takes me out of it. You know, the suspension of disbelief was just too much for this one. Their plan was just too complex for what they needed to do, and the whole point was just to get the cop alone. Like, that was the whole point of the plan.
Well, because she had already called him, so she told him like what was going on, so they had to come up with something.
Yeah.
So that's why they came up with the mall plan.
Yeah, I don't know. It just didn't do it for me. It was cool to look at, but it's just too convenient for, you know, for the movie.
It was very Stranger Things-esque too. Like, I feel like
was,
like
yeah.
with the mall setting and all that. Like, I was like, oh, it's kind of like we're watching Stranger Things all over again. Which, I mean, Sam was like, well, it's Netflix, so like they're just like kind of like going to that back to that same well.
Well, and that's where kids hung out at the time too. I mean,
Yeah, I guess so. So like, I'm trying to remember how this ends now. Like, how she defeats Nick Good. Like, they get down into like the whatever you want to call
the
it,
witch hole.
the witch hole, and then he like tries to stab her where she has a bulletproof vest of Fear Street books, of all things, that saves her life from the stabbing. But how does she like defeat him? I kind of forget. Does anyone remember?
Didn't she just stab the blob with, like, the
Power of
heart?
love.
Oh
I
no,
thought
she has
had
him
him
touch
touch
him.
it. Yeah.
That's right. She has
Yeah.
him like touch the heart, and then she's able to like kill him.
And
that
then
way.
Sarah
right.
can like find him and do what she needs to
That's
do.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which-
And then then they escape, and
leave the book
happily ever after.
Like this whole fucking story, this whole Fear Street thing happens because of this book, and they just leave it behind. Like I look at my wife, I'm like, seriously, they're gonna leave the book? Like, it's just, I knew it would set up a sequel, which is obviously what it's doing. But
I feel like even if the kids weren't going to take the book, I feel like someone at the police station would have, because it's like they're not going to just leave evidence around unattended with no one watching it.
But they don't know about that part of the.
No, there's all police tape and stuff at the end.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, we see the hands grab the book, so they did go down there, and you would think they'd be like, "All right, let's bag this and put it into evidence." Yeah, yeah, it's a good point. I did like when they come out at the end and they're in Nick Good's house, and then they go outside and the fucking car gets hit by the garbage truck to kind of show that Sunnyvale or Sunnyside, whatever it is gonna they're gonna turn into like the bad luck part of the town or the cursed part of the town. So I thought that was kind of a good way to wrap it up, I guess. Although maybe a bit cheesy, fine enough bit of symbolism.
Justice for Nick Good, though. I think he's a unsung hero of this whole. No, I'm just kidding. He was terrible. All of them deserve to die except Sadie. She was. You guys want to rate these? Yeah, my hawk. Do you guys want to rate these before we get in the questions?
Yeah, sure.
Or afterwards?
Let's do questions first.
All right, questions first.
Questions.
All right. So they're not all Fear Street related, but the majority of them are. That's why we just decided to do the whole thing at the end. So the first one's from Queso Conqueso. Do you think the 3-part reverse chronological order format was effective for this for telling the story? Why or why not?
It's not like complete reverse chronological order though, right? Like, because like,
well, it is 94, 78, 66, and then just wrapping it up in 94.
And then we go back. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I was cool with it. Yeah, I had no problems with it. I don't know. Like, I think the idea was great. Like the idea of doing like a 3-part movie series that all connects was great, but it was also kind of its downfall too. Like, I think the fact that they had to keep inserting like something into each movie to connect it kind of hurt it a little bit, and probably is why the runtime are so padded on it too. So good idea. I think they could do better with execution going forward. I think it's a good idea though. I'd like to see more stuff like this.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree too.
Tighter.
I just don't know how. I feel like you would have maybe been spoiled or maybe guessed more what was going to happen if it would have been in chronological order instead of going reverse. It kind of kept you up in the air about what was happening, even though I knew right from part 1 that Nick Good was not good.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did. I didn't, Joe. I was like, Joe, it's the cop. And I was like, it's always the cop.
No, Nick Good was a good guy.
I totally did. I never saw it.
It's always the handsome person with the pretty blue eyes.
Something.
Watch out.
In the first movie, I thought it was a cop as well, Sam. Because like if something was really off, especially when he killed that guy in the beginning.
Yeah, he didn't care.
But then in the second one, I'm like, oh, it makes sense. He's off. He's fucked up because it's like PTSD basically. Because he's, oh fuck, it's happening again. That makes more sense. And then it was revealed. So I didn't see the twist coming personally.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. But when he also put the note in Ziggy's door and he's like, she's back. I'm like, bitch, you know what's going on.
Yeah, why did they do that? Because that's just for us, right? To mislead the audience. That's only what that's for. Because why else would he do that? I don't know.
She never wanted to talk to him, you know?
Yeah, but he's not even like banging her or anything. Like he has no ulterior motive.
Yeah.
Because he fucked her over at the end of the second movie, and I think.
Well, and she had never seen him again, so it's unless she's lived in the same house since she was a kid, which I'm assuming that's how he knows where she lives. But it's like she never wanted to see him.
But he's in love with her, right? Still, I think.
I don't know. I don't think so. I think it's more just like he's using her.
Yeah, I don't think the reverse chronological order was necessary, personally. I would have been just as fine watching it in chronological order and really get the story. So, and I think I would have appreciated 94 more had I watched it third as opposed to watching it, at the beginning. So I think it's a good idea. I just don't think they did it well enough to kind of execute it properly, in my opinion. Next series of questions comes from your geeky neighbor. Do y'all think the trilogy had pretty good balance of kills with the level of blood and gore presented throughout?
I feel like it dropped off.
Yeah. I mean, because like the first one, you got great gore and great like
So
stuff.
gory.
And then, yeah, it does kind of drop off. Like we didn't like, obviously you get like off-screen gore, I guess you could say. Like we see like the kids after the fact they're dead and stuff like that. But yeah, I would have liked to have seen more on-screen kills, like Sam said. Like that, like we never got anything better than that bread slicer kill. After that bread slicer kill,
it kind of set up our expectation for a really gory series that we never really got.
Right.
It was like uneven with their kills. Like, just go for it. Fuck it. It's a rated R series. Fucking go for it.
Right. Although like the two sisters dying at the end, that got pretty like gory. Like they showed like the axes going into them and stuff like that. But I would have liked more like inventive kills, like that bread slicer kill. Which, by the way, I read on IMDb that apparently the director and the crew like had a big fight about that on whether that is actually possible. So they went and they bought a actual bread slicer and a watermelon. They put it through and it worked. And they were like, oh, they were so excited.
I think it would, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the skull is thicker than a watermelon, but I like theirs.
Yeah.
What about, wait, we didn't, just real quick, because they're saying that was the bread slicer thing. Could that really happen? What about when Dina wanted Sam to swallow 50 fucking pills dry mouth? It's like, what do you think was going to happen?
In a grocery store.
She's like,
and they don't get her a water?
I know. I'm like, bitch, I'll swallow the pills. Just give me some water. Like, I can't, no.
I actually put down in my notes, like, why the fuck did they give her water or something during a grocery store?
She's like, just swallow.
Yeah. I forgot about that whole part, honestly.
Ridiculous. His next question. Honestly, I was pleasantly surprised at the level of detail with their kills and gore. When I heard it was R-rated trilogy, I was like, okay, it's going to barely be R-rated, like a hard teen 14 rating, being that it was a teen character focus. Glad they did it with full R-rated. And he ends with, the trilogy also inspired me to play and revisit great PS4 horror game Until Dawn. That would be good game for y'all on the Let's XP Geek and Gaming podcast to discuss and review. There, I plugged the other podcast for y'all. The game features great actors like Rami Malek and others. Also has many different endings to discover. It's a great game, and that would be definitely fun.
That would be fun.
You guys should.
Maybe we will.
Put it on the schedule.
Yeah. The next one's from Caleb. Hey, squad. So I was a bit nervous when I heard Fear Street was being covered this week because of how divisive it's been in the horror community, but was also excited because I love the series and I'm curious, as always, to hear your thoughts on it. So first question, do you think the 3-part movie anthology is something we can expect more often in the future? And how well did Fear Street pull it off with its approach? So we kind of said how we felt about the pulling it off, but do you think we'll see this a lot now that, trilogy is kind of in the same,
Probably.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be opposed to it. I think it's a cool idea. I think it's perfect for like Netflix. Sorry, Sam, go ahead.
No, you're fine. I was gonna say, like, for anyone who's listening, if you haven't checked out Are You Afraid of the Dark, please watch it. It is so good, and it's just like it's laid out like this is, if that makes sense. There's like 3 parts, and they're all individual. Well, not individual, but they're all like watching movies, but it's all part of one movie, if that makes sense. So yeah, I think it'll definitely stay around for a while.
I liked it. It felt like an event, like a summer event. Like everyone in the horror community was talking about Fear Street for the last 3 weeks. And I thought that was really cool. And then it was kind of a unique way to do it with 3 back-to-back movies. So I like the concept, and I would like to see something like this happen more often, I think. Especially in the summer when there's like, usually there's just a ton, but this year not so much. And it was just fun. It was a cool little thing that everyone was kind of talking about.
Noah would have been perfect for this. And I know they'll never do it or anything, but like, could you imagine if they did like Freddy vs. Jason like this, where they made a standalone Freddy movie, like a standalone Jason movie, and then like they combine them like with like little hints here and there in both movies. And then like the last movie, they combine them like to make the Freddy vs. Jason. That would have been epic.
Yeah, that would be epic. But yeah, you're right. They'll never do it for a franchise. I don't think. But, all right. Second, which killer in the series would you like to see have their own movie? I'd like to see Ruby Lane. Whenever she was on screen, her presence was haunting, especially because of the songs she sang, and I'd like to see more from her.
Sam, we know Sam agrees with you.
That's gonna be a no for me, dog.
No,
I
want
kept trying to give Ruby chances. Anytime they would shoot her in such a way that she was going to be so fucking creepy, but then once her face pops up, it wasn't scary. Like, she was too beautiful. She was a beautiful angel, a little songbird, if you will. Like, no, I wasn't scared.
Well, even the other kid says she's hot.
Yeah, she's beautiful. It's like, hey, girl.
What's up, girl?
What's
Maybe
up,
a little
girl?
threesome with Sam and what's her face.
What's up, girl?
Yeah, mine would be that like doll-faced killer dude who like was really like creepy and like weird looking. Like I'd love to see a standalone with him. The skull face guy, I wish we got more of him. He was really cool, but it was very reminiscent of Scream, so I don't know like how exciting that would be. So I'd like to see that doll killer. I think that would be cool.
Go Milkman. We don't have enough Milkman serial killers, so let's do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, and he could murder all the housewives.
Yeah.
Right.
Here's your milk delivery.
Yeah, and I think it'd be cool to see a '50s killer like that, like with the
Ooh.
Milkman. I think
Yeah.
that would be an awesome.
It's more like eerie.
Yeah, and he was interesting. It's just too bad we didn't know anything about him. All right, and then finally, which kill shocked you the most? Because I was not expecting it, and actually liked the character a lot. Kate's death shocked me the most. Who knew bread slicers could be that deadly? Thanks as always for the amazing content, guys.
Yeah, agreed. That was definitely the
Yeah,
most
me
surprising
too.
one for me.
Yeah, same. Very cool.
I'll be different and go 1978, where he kills the nerdy kid, even though it wasn't like a great kill or anything.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, he walks in there and he goes for it, and you hear him screaming a little bit. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I thought for sure that kid was gonna live. It was so like, and like he didn't even have a chance. Poor kid.
Aw.
All right, next question's from our buddy Eric. I enjoyed the series. Obviously, it had its issues. I just want to make sure that people are aware. CPR is almost definitely not going to save somebody that has been stabbed 40 times in the torso. Also, who was your favorite character and why was it Josh? That's
Josh
all.
was cool. Yeah, Josh was fun. Favorite character overall.
I feel like CPR on that would just be like fountains of blood. squirting
Right?
out every
Yeah,
time you
exactly.
cough.
My favorite character is probably Sadie Sink
Yeah,
in 78. Yeah.
I concur. She's the most likable.
Yeah.
She's gonna go far, man. She's a good actress.
Yeah, apparently
Yeah,
she's a
she
big
is.
horror fan too. She's in an
Oh,
interview
cool.
saying
I like that.
that she wants to keep doing horror because it's fun. So
Nice.
I like it. Sam, you agree? Siggy?
I agree.
All right. Next one's from horror fan Ryan. This trilogy was based around a witch. Is there another storyline you would like to see a trilogy done of?
Mm.
Hard to link stuff, right? Because
It
witches like
is.
cursed lands. What about like an Indian burial ground? That'd be cool. It's kind of like the same realm though as a witch, but
Kind of, sort of.
it's possible.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't seen voodoo in a long time. I'd like to do
Ooh.
like a voodoo priestess. You know, there's
We got an American Horror Story a little.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I really like New Orleans. I think it's a very interesting like setting, and I think I
Mhm.
really like kind of cool New Orleans voodoo storyline.
You got
Yeah.
speaking of New Orleans, you got the new vampire movie, Sexy Vampires, Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt. What was the name of that?
Interview with the Vampire.
Interview with a
There
Vampire.
you go. Yeah,
New movie.
I think it's a show. I don't know. My uncle's working on it.
Yeah, it's a show.
Oh.
Yeah.
TV
Oh,
show,
wow.
yeah.
Your uncle's working on it?
Yeah, he's a construction guy for sets.
That's
Cool.
amazing.
Mhm.
Wow. Tell him to send us some videos.
Yeah, me and Uncle Mike don't talk.
Okay, never mind.
But it's a cool job though.
That is a cool job.
All right. So, did you guys have anything other ideas for?
I'm sticking with Indian burial ground.
Yeah.
We can talk about
Yeah,
like
nothing new that I can think of.
first
Yeah.
movie is the white people go in and kick them out. That's bad, right? Then they're cursed, and then so on and so on and so on.
And then the wooden statue goes back and kills everyone.
Ooh, I like it.
And then pets
Yeah.
come alive and they're
Yeah, it's
evil.
awesome.
Love it.
We'll call it Pet Cemetery.
Starring Chief Woodenhead. The next one's from Mondo. Am I alone in thinking that his Fear Street trilogy was way better than either Goosebumps or Scary Stories movies?
Yeah, I'd say you are wrong.
I like
Actually.
the Goosebumps movies a lot. They're really fun.
I really like both Goosebumps movies, and I mean, I still go to bat for Scary Stories. I
I
really
do
like
too.
Scary Stories.
Yep.
Yeah. Maybe more so than this one. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I like this one. Obviously, we'll get into our ratings and stuff like that. But I had way more issues with it, like this than I did, I think, Scary Stories and Goosebumps.
Goosebumps is fun. I didn't like
Goosebumps
the
2 was awesome.
other one.
I love
Goosebumps 2 is legit.
Yeah.
I didn't like Scary Stories, but I really like 1978, so I'm sticking yes and no.
Yeah.
Same thing for me. Next series of questions from Weezerface. Fear Street has been polarizing from what I've seen. Why do you think people either hate or love it? I think for all the reasons we said, really.
Yeah.
Well, and two, I think that, I don't know, I'll talk more about this on my rating, but you got to remember who the audience for Fear Street is. It's not for us. Like, it is, but it's not.
See, I thought it was for us because
I mean, it is, but it's not, Todd.
It's like
Well,
there's
it's not
an
for-
identity crisis here for sure.
it's definitely not for my 12-year-old.
No.
I would be watching this if I was 12, and it would scare me.
Well, I know, but as a
I mean, you gotta remember we
parent,
watched
no.
we all watched like Scream when we were like 12 and 13, but like they weren't for us, I guess, right? And like I don't know. Like kids will love this, right?
mean, like,
I mean, adults will like. No, go ahead.
No, it's fine. I'll wait until the end.
Okay.
Yeah. See, yeah, I kind of it kind of is for us because I was 12 in 1994. So why else would they set something in the 90s if you're not trying to get the people who lived through the 90s as a teen, right? So I think it is partly for us, but you're right. There's an identity crisis there. Her next question: did you see the twist coming? I know Sam said she did. I didn't. Sam
claims she did.
Come on,
Nick Good, justice for Nick Good. He's right up to the top.
Joe
didn't
heard
see it
my
coming.
proof.
I did remember you mentioning it, but I didn't see it coming.
Neither did I. I thought he was a good character, especially in part 2.
Don't even ask Joe. He didn't even know it was Nick Good in part 2.
No, in
or part 3.
1666, yeah.
Yeah, and I think part of it was not knowing that 1666 would be the same actors. You know,
right?
He didn't even know that older Ziggy was young Ziggy.
Right, exactly.
That took me a minute too. Yeah.
And our last question: favorite kill in each movie. So we talked about our favorite kill overall, but what would you say for the other 2 movies you didn't mention?
Ooh, don't remember. In part 1 is the Maya Hawke kill. Because it's pretty in your face. The bread one's obviously funner or more fun, but the knife slashing was great. And then in part 2, it's gonna be the ending dual kill because that's pretty brutal and in your face as well, plus sad. And then the third one, I guess if you count the killers killing each other, if that counts.
It counts, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty much there with Todd, except in the last one, obviously the kids like. Even though you don't see it, it's like off screen, just like them getting their eyeballs like taken out. And the last one was awesome. So yeah,
I agree with 1 and 2, and then for 3, I'm gonna go with the hanging of Sarah because it's really sad and fucked up.
That's a good shot. I forgot about that one.
Yeah, and 2 for me is when the guy gets his head chopped off.
Oh yeah, that was awesome.
Falls down
pretty
the
great.
Yeah, I forgot
that was
all
really
about
good.
that, Steve.
Yeah,
Yep.
that was great.
That was gnarly.
All right. Next one's from Rinfa. How do you guys feel about killing kids off in movies? Most of the scenes where younger kids died in 78 were off screen, but do you think we should have seen them?
I mean, why not? Yeah, I mean, I got no problem with it. I can see why they don't do it because, like, obviously it triggers certain people, and like I feel like it causes more outrage when you kill kids in movies. But it's like it happens all the time now. I mean, like I don't remember the outrage when they killed kids in like Pet Sematary. Like I'm sure there was when the first one came out with Stephen King, but like when the remake happened, like I didn't see people all up in arms about it. So, I mean, yeah, just fucking do it. Who cares?
Well, Joe. As a father, no, I was kidding. It depends on how it's shot, honestly.
As a daddy,
yeah.
As a big daddy, Dr. Sleep, I hated that kid kill. I hated it. Like I talked about that.
Brutal.
I thought it was over the top. I thought it was unnecessary, and you guys disagreed.
Yeah.
But I thought that was like gratuitous. But
it was.
In this one, because you're torturing, yeah. But I don't know. It depends on the age. Like these 12-year-olds and stuff at the camp, like let's get after it. But like younger, obviously, it's a little bit more disturbing.
How did you feel about Georgie?
Fucking brutal. It made me like tear up.
Right.
because he's such a cute kid, and
Yeah.
But it was necessary, and I think
But
you're
the
right.
story, yeah.
Where if it's necessary to the story, I think they should show it because it's. But don't do it gratuitously.
yeah. The worst part about it for me was when he was Pennywise was pretending to be him, and he was just saying, "I want to go home." I was like, "Oh, like you fucking clown, fuck!" Like, yeah. If it makes sense, like you guys said.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next one's from Chuck, Captain Amazing 85. What years would you use for a trilogy anthology?
Ooh.
Trilthology, if you will.
Oh man, it's a good question. I think the '60s is always like a great thing to go back to because you got like the hippies and like the satanic panic stuff and whatnot. So I'll go '60s, 20s because I don't think we get enough like 20s, like roaring 20s like style horror movies. Like, and I think that could be like a really fun thing to play on. Like you get a little bit of it in The Shining there, like when he goes into the ballrooms and you kind of get that 20s like vibe there. But I think like a horror movie as a whole would be great in that. And then so let's go 2060s and then today.
I'm gonna go with 600 BC.
Oh shit! All right,
Just
Saber
joking.
tooth tigers walking around. And shit.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I don't know. I don't really have much different to add to this, but I'll go 90s, 2000s. Can you imagine like a bunch of girls getting killed in their velour sweatsuits?
I don't know what that means, but
with
okay.
their gigapets or gigapets, whatever the fuck they're called.
Tamagotchis.
There you go.
And then I guess 80s, just so it's back to back.
80s, 90s, 2000. All right.
Or throw some Furbies in there too while we're at it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm
Yeah.
going 45.
Hogs.
So like right after, or the end of World War II, and then we'll do 55. Marty McFly is having a visit, and then we'll go. We'll jump ahead to 2040 for just cause.
Love it.
Oh, I like the way you think.
It's like Blade Runner.
I'll go 82 because it's the year I was born. I'll go 1915, and I'd go the Victorian age. I really am fascinated by the Victorian age. So,
Ooh, I want to know what a killer looks like and what they do and how they kill back in the Victorian
yeah,
age.
There's a white wig
like
and
Jack
white
the Ripper,
makeup.
and
Like the blood splatters on their like white powdered faces and white powdered wigs.
There you go. They did make Pride, Prejudice, and Zombies. I never saw it, but
it's terrible.
Oh,
Is it
yeah.
terrible?
Yeah, it's terrible.
There's a book too.
Yeah, I read the book too, and it was not great either. Yeah. All right, next one. Any recommendations for time travel horror?
Oh,
Butterfly effect.
Butterfly Effect. Yeah. What's that one we just watched? Synchronic.
Yeah. Oh,
Synchronic.
that's yeah.
It's pretty damn good.
It's dark, so prepare yourself.
Yeah, but it's very good.
Hug your doggy close.
Time Crimes. It's a Spanish movie, and I really like time looping movies where like you see a guy at the beginning of the movie and that ends up being you. 45, you know what I mean, stuff like that. So Time Crimes is a good one, Spanish movie, and then also a one called Triangle, which is set in the Bermuda Triangle, and they get on a ship, and it's one of those things where like they see a killer, and then like you're trying to figure out who it is, but it's also time loopy, so like you end up walking into yourself. It's kind of, what was that one, Joe? I know you watched it with Ethan Hawke, Predestination.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. Yeah,
Not
Predestination.
really
Yeah.
horror.
Not
all the
really,
way,
yeah, but it's a
kinda
good
adjacent.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
So time loop shit like that is really good. So Triangle and Time Crimes, I think you like them.
Mhm.
I'm scared of the Bermuda Triangle.
Yeah.
I can't even look up anything about it.
Oh man, you can go to a freaking rabbit hole on YouTube.
Is
with
it
that.
real?
depends
It's
on who
real,
you
right?
ask, Yeah.
Scary.
Yeah, and I'll go Army of Darkness.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Mhm.
Because I can't really think of anything. His next question: was it a missed opportunity to just throw a mob of killers at the end? Where was the pastor?
Well, like yeah, I mean, I guess the pastor could have been there, right? Like,
Yeah, because he killed
like
all the kids, right?
right, yeah, like, well, so like, yeah, because he was one of the ones that got. There was like 50 names on that wall, but they only focused on like 5 or 6. If you brought like 50 people out there, it would have just been comical, probably. Like, so I think they just had to make a choice.
Would have been like Cabin in the Woods, I think.
Yeah, exactly. It would have looked like WWF Royal Rumble with like all of them going at it.
Yeah. All right. He says, Steven, Stevia, Stevepedia, Steve.
How fun.
Ask Sam what our food pairing is for the trilogy, please, sir.
Oh.
For the trilogy, how about Dina's
But you have
famous?
to have a really bad accent, Sam, when delivering.
Colonial
How do
accent.
I don't even know how to do it.
Neither did they.
What
Didn't stop them.
accent was it that they were doing?
Kind of Englishish.
Like
Was it
colonial
English?
Like
Yeah.
colonial, yeah.
I don't even know. Like, I don't even know what that sounds like.
Joseph, you got to have a stew if you want to go out.
You just sound like
Todd,
Scottish or something.
Todd. I'm gonna pick Dina's pancakes.
Dina's what? Pound cake?
Her pancakes, her burnt pancakes.
Oh, that's right. That she makes.
Can I go lewd? Can I go lewd with this, please?
I legit thought those were chocolate pancakes. I didn't realize.
Joe was like, "Oh, yum!" I'm like, "Joe, she burnt the like I can't." Like she burned the pancakes.
All right, moving on to Creature Feature, who's a new member on our Discord. So
Woo,
welcome
woo.
to the Discord, and everyone who isn't on Discord should definitely be on it because it's a great time. Who do you think stole the book at the end?
That's a great question.
I think it's someone from Nick's family, or it's someone from Sunnyvale who knew.
Yeah, I would say it's like one of Nick's like ancestors. Like we didn't really know Nick's background, so maybe he had like a son or something like that,
Or a brother or something.
or a brother. Yeah, so maybe the mayor.
Didn't he
The
have a
mayor
brother?
died.
Yeah, mayor.
I remember they kept mentioning the mayor, and
Yeah, the
I
mayor
don't-
just said like he didn't have anything to do with it.
right. So maybe it was the mayor. Maybe the
So
mayor
maybe it was
grabbed the
him.
book. Yeah. Mhm.
Did it look like an old hand or a young hand?
Maybe it was Josh.
It happens really fast.
Was it white? Do we know if it was,
It was
white
white.
or was it white? Never mind. Sam gave
What
me
if
a
it
look.
what if it was what if it was Ziggy? What if because she's like making sure it's done?
No, the way they framed it, it was like a sinister grab. Like, so I feel like it wasn't for
Yeah.
good. So I'm going with the mayor or someone in Nick Good's family, a good family.
Got female hands to me.
Female hands, all right.
Yeah, look like
Maybe
female.
Nick's wife.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if he had one, but
All right. So next question's from M, which by the way, update on her dog Dexter, doing great. So
Nice.
we're
Great.
very happy
Mhm.
about that.
Good job.
Did any of you read the Fear Street books? I still do, even though they're for teens. I have pretty decent collection. So have you guys read any of these?
I did. I read a
Mhm.
couple like when I was in middle school. Do I remember like which ones I read? I remember there was like a Christmassy like horror Fear Street one that I remember reading, and then I remember reading one of the babysitter ones. There was like a whole series of the babysitter ones that I read. But yeah,
I remember doing a book report on a babysitter one. I just don't remember what it was.
yeah.
Sounds you reading?
I was trying to think of what the babysitter one was called. I read some of them and I have a few of them. I mean, who doesn't reread R.L. Stein books?
I legit haven't read like a Goosebumps
I don't care
book
if they
in
are for
a long
teens.
time.
It's still fun.
Yeah. I'd like to go back and read one. I used to love the choose your own adventure ones where
Oh,
like
I
you
hated
just-
those fucking.
They
cheated
caused,
so
that's
bad.
where my anxiety started.
those were fun.
And I haven't read any. I read Goosebumps, but not any of the Fear Streets. Says rank the 3 movies from favorite to least. I guess we'll do that when we do the ratings a little bit later.
Yeah.
And we have to give an overall
Oh my
rating for the
gosh.
trilogy too. So what?
I'm looking at covers for Fear Street, and I did the knife because I'm looking at the
Oh.
covers. I remember that for sure from '92.
Cool. Yeah, it was cool that in the movie too, that like in the bookstore it was all Fear Street books like on the shelves. I thought that was like a cool little touch.
Her last question was, were you guys surprised by the brutality and adult nature of the movies? The kills were pretty decent, and I was shocked they had sex scenes.
Yeah,
Mhm.
for sure.
I was not, just because like I remember we did a news segment on it and how it was going to be like R-rated and stuff. So I wasn't, but like had I not known going in, I would have been shocked. Yes.
Yeah,
Was I
agree.
shocked that they had sex?
Yeah, I like that graphically, I guess.
I guess I was, but I didn't really know what to expect. I don't remember Joe talking about that on the news. I guess with the kills, then seeing the sex, I wasn't surprised, if that makes sense.
Makes sense. And our final question from Oddjob versus 007. It was bold of them to take some of R.L. Stein's stories and make them R-rated. What other of his works would you like to see get a more mature take of?
I think a mature take on the haunted mask could be awesome. I think they could like Carly Beth, like when she puts on the mask, becomes like a killer or something like that could get really dark. Or like One Day at Horrorland, like sort of a la Hellfest or Haunt or something like that could be like a really cool take on it.
Night of the Living Dummy would be really scary.
Or my last one would be Night of the Living Dummy for sure. Yeah.
Say cheese and die.
Yeah.
They die gruesomely. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I think any of those would be really, really cool. So thank you everyone for the questions. We can't do the segment without you. All right, I want to rate these.
Yeah.
Rate them.
All right, let's start with part one. We're gonna do it. Let's do round table here. So part one, I am gonna say it's the weakest one, and I'm gonna give it a 6.
I mirror that. 2.5 on Letterboxd, 6 out of 10.
Dang, a 6
for just part one, not as like a whole.
Okay, for part one, I'm going to give it, just because Todd and Joe gave it both 6s, I'm gonna give it
Monsters.
What should I give it? I'm gonna give it an 8.5.
Wow.
Dang, I didn't know you liked it that much.
Well, I'm gonna tell you at the end why.
All right.
Yeah, a 6 for me too.
Fellas, come on.
Alrighty. So part 2, 1978. Like I said, probably my favorite one out of the whole series. Pacing issues really dragged this one down for me, but it was still a great time. I think it's the only one you can watch as a standalone. So I'm gonna give it an 8. I really liked it.
All right. I'm a little bit higher, 8.25 for the reasons you mentioned. 4 out of 5 on Letterboxd. I thought it was really fun. Love the throwback to the camp. Sadie was awesome. Kills were good, and just had a good time with it.
Wait, what did you both give it? An 8 point something?
I gave it an 8. Todd gave it 8.25.
Okay, I'm gonna give it a 9.
Wow.
And I am with Joe. An 8 is my favorite one, and I thought it was a fun one, a fun watch.
All right, 3.
Then, yeah, part 3, 1666. Yeah, I mean, I think the choice to use the actors was a huge mistake here, but I still did enjoy this one for the most part, and they wrapped it up like pretty nicely. Like I thought, like it was kind of like put on with a nice bow, with the ending, and they did wrap it all up pretty nicely here. So I'm gonna give it a 7.
All right, I'm still at a 6 and a 2.5. I just wasn't feeling it.
Okay, so by the end of this one, I actually did like Dina. I did. She didn't get on my nerves like she did in part 1. But like I said, time period pieces, they just are my thing. I was bored in this one. It was like a background one, like Todd said. So I'm going to give it. This is hard because the ending was good. It was fine.
Well, we're gonna rate it as like a whole series too. So if that changes,
okay, I'm gonna give it a 6.
Okay.
And I'm close to you guys. 6.5. It was slightly better than 94, but not that great.
All right. Series as a whole.
What you got?
Yeah. So like, I think the more I think about it, like I have a lot of problems with it, but at the end of the day, like I'm more favorable on it than I am like against it. I had a good time overall watching it. Would I rewatch them again? Definitely part 2, maybe part 1, like, but it would take some effort. In part 3, same. But yeah, I mean, overall, I liked it, and I hope they do more stuff like this. I would like to see more Fear Street movies. I think maybe just do standalone movies, just because like the runtimes don't need to be this long and stuff. But overall, as a whole, I enjoyed it. I'm torn here, but I think I'm comfortable with a 7.5 on it. I was between a 7 and a 7.5, but I'll give it a 7.5 as a whole.
If part 2, I think Joe said this, if part 2 was its own movie, I think would have given it a 9, which I'm probably
Yeah.
right up there too. If you cut some of the stuff that didn't have to be connected to 1 and 3, it's right up there. If I'm just doing averaging as 2 6s and an 8.25, it's probably at a 7.25 total. So I'll stick with that 7.25. A lot of good stuff, and I think if they go with another trilogy, they will probably improve upon it. So 7.25 overall.
I think they will too, Todd, if they do another trilogy. I also agree with Joe. I think that it would be more interesting if they did it on standalone movies. Okay, so going back to what I said, like it is for us, but it's not. Like I feel like it's for people like me. Like I'm not so serious when it comes to my horror movies. Like you guys are being like very critiquey, which is totally fine, but it's like it's just not the same realm of things. It can't be perfect just because what it is. I personally think. Will I watch this again? Yes, I will. I'll probably watch it like within the next month or two. It's just like the Goosebumps movies, just like scary stories in the dark. So I'm going to give it an overall 9.
Wow. I'm gonna give it a 7. It was enjoyable, but not like great, I guess. So 7 is what I'm comfortable with. It's pretty close to like the average of all my scores put together. So.
So here's my question. Like I would put part 2 like in my top 10, but like can we do that?
I
already have my top 10 because it's
like,
they're 3 movies. That's just the way it is, right? So
okay.
Yeah, so I have it in my top 10. I mean, I don't think it'll stay there because it's an 8, but
it might, with this year.
It might. This year has not been great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's 6 for me right now. So,
you guys want to guess which one is highest rank on Letterboxd?
I would guess part 2.
Yeah.
Well, I would guess that as well.
Yeah, I think the cabin setting would.
Really?
Part 3 is really
Part
wow.
3 is a 3.6. Part 2 is a 3.4, and part 1 is a 3.1.
That's shocking to me because most people hate like colonial period pieces, but
right.
maybe like just how it wraps it up at the end, people really liked. So interesting.
You know what? I like that this movie exists though for certain people.
Yeah.
To root for. So that's a good plus too, even though some of it is kind of out pushed at you, but I'm glad it's there. So that's good for people too. So
and
no,
Todd, we talked about this last week, and you asked me, should I show this to my kids? And I said part 1 maybe, but part 2 no. Overall, what do you think? Do you think this is appropriate for?
I know every parent's different. Like some people are showing them whatever they want at certain ages. But that's not me. So I would say no, none of them, not yet. We did watch Jeepers Creepers though, me and my daughter. So that's for next week.
Cool.
Why wouldn't you let them watch this? Because
sex
of the
stuff.
Sex stuff?
Yeah.
But sex is normal and natural though, whereas
but if they're
but if you have a
and it goes fast.
Yeah, Jeepers Creepers is something that can never happen. A demon coming alive 20.
Yes, it can.
What? Yeah,
I get it.
But no,
I was just curious.
What's the plan for next week? What are we covering? Have we decided yet?
If you guys can see Escape Room, we'll do that. If not, we could do Quiet Place too.
Down for Quiet Place.
Yeah, do a Quiet Place.
I don't know where Escape Room is at, except the theater.
Yeah. It's only a theater.
Let's do a Quiet Place. Yeah, let's do a Quiet Place too. I think a lot of people are excited to hear our thoughts on that, and I'm excited to talk about it. So
it's available on Prime for people who are didn't see it in theater.
Prime, not
nice.
TV.
Free on Prime?
It is here in Canada. I didn't check the US, but it is here.
Let's see.
And Old is coming out like this weekend, actually, I think.
Is it really?
Yeah, I'm excited. We gotta. It's like, man, I was looking at like release dates. It's like we're definitely not gonna be able to cover everything, but there's a lot coming out here. And
what if we do 2-parter?
We still have to do our 90s episode too.
Right. We'll have to. We'll have to make some decisions, but like we can squeeze them in like later in the year too. Before the end of the year. So I think Old would be a good one to do though, and I mean. We'll see. Escape Room. I think Escape Room would be good because I can probably get Adam Robitel back on the show, so that would be like a good for an interview. And I interviewed a bunch of Fear Street people yesterday. I haven't heard anything back, but if I do get a response before Friday, I'll try to squeeze them in.
Cool. All right. So Quiet Place 2. It's good.
Quiet Place 2.
All right. Sounds good.
See you guys. Have fun at work.
Bye.
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 Later. See ya.
The truth will come out. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but it will.